go to YouTube real quick. Those standings aren't going to update for a while. Buffering. There we are. All right, great. Sweet, we're up. Yeah, it's still hot.
Hot?
Mm-hmm.
It'll get worse.
I know. So,
I'm gonna message and say, be ready with my key.
be ready with your key, yeah. And maybe we should put yours on the water bottle.
Yeah.
And just stay off it. Unless we're checking signal. See, let me try to go over here. Get a little bit better. Okay, if you're tuning in now, 64 miles into the 70th anniversary of the Tevis Cup ride here. And thank you again for being patient with some of our technical difficulties. We may at some point need to switch over and restart the stream in case our phones get too hot. We're trying to cool them down right now. We're in the shade, but it is a warm day today, and as most of you know, devices don't like being warm while we're streaming. It takes a lot of battery. So we'll try to get some folks back on here. Okay, so I think we're up and streaming. I want to apologize in advance if the stream quality here is not great. We're having trouble with, again, with our phones and making sure we have good connection with the Starlink. But we're here at Chicken Hawk, and we're hoping to show you some horses come through. It takes, like I was saying before, it takes about 15 minutes to get from Michigan Bluff to Chicken Hawk, and the trackers had showed, the last I checked, the top 3 riders. Oh, I hear them coming right now. Okay. So that's good. We timed it perfect. So it sounds like one or more of the first 3 riders are heading into the Chicken Hawk vet check right now. We can hear them up the hill. We're actually a little bit further down from the Chicken Hawk vet check. Kind of wanted to get a nice pretty spot in the shade with some of the trails so you can see the horses on the trail, because the very next stream is going to be Forest Hill, and that is a really excellent spot to watch horses in a vet check. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of crewing happening, and essentially at Chicken Hawk, they come in and they get cooled down, and it's a gate and go. They get a vet check, they trot out, and then they hit the road, because the Forest Hill vet check is only about, I believe, 4 miles down the trail from here. So horses don't tend to stay in the Chicken Hawk vet check very long. They kind of get in, get cooled off, pulse down, vet through, and go. So we're hoping that most of you were able to catch Lucy at Deadwood, and that spot there that she was at is after the first big major canyon, and so you're seeing horses after the Deadwood vet check coming after that canyon. This spot where we're at is after the second big canyon, so the horses will have gone down, climbed back up to Michigan Bluff, gotten, maybe some of their crew will have met them at Michigan Bluff. It used to be one of the vet checks on the Western States Trail Ride, and in recent years they've moved the vet check up here to, used to be called Piper Junction. It's now been renamed the Chicken Hawk vet check. It's kind of a nice big shady area in the trees here. So this is kind of the final. There's a series of gate and goes between the 2 1-hour holds. So there's a 1-hour hold at Robinson, then there's 3 gate and goes, Last Chance, Deadwood, and last Chicken Hawk here, and then they have their next 1-hour hold in Forest Hill, like I said, in about 4 miles from here. So just to kind of orient you to the location we're standing, like I said, the Chicken Hawk vet check is up the hill a little bit. We might barely be able to see horses leaving there. But anyway, they come down this trail right here. They cross the road and they go on down. There's a sign there that says the Chicken Hawk Connector, and I believe these trails were put in when the Western States Trail Foundation procured this site. So there's a really lovely, windy little forest trail through the trees here to get down to Volcano Canyon. And I just want to say that, this is a ride in which you're either kind of negotiating rocky trails or you're on a hard road, and there's kind of limited trails where you're just kind of trotting along through the beautiful trees with good footing and just able to take a moment. And I remember every time I've gone through here, this particular trail is one of those times that you can kind of just relax and the horse can pick their path through a beautiful flowing single track trail. And you got a nice hour hold waiting for you at the end of it. Volcano Canyon is the 3rd canyon in the Tevis Cup, and I don't want to diminish that it is a little bit of a climb getting up to Forest Hill, but compared to the other 2 canyons that the horses will have done at this point, it is a relatively minor climb. And essentially halfway up the climb, you're on Bath Road, and it's a nice easy road to kind of relax and get the tack off, and you meet your crew. So really, by the time they've hit this point on trail and gone through the vet check. All the really hard climbing is essentially behind them. You know, they have one little canyon here to get through, and then they start the third section of trail, which is the California Loop down to Auburn. So I'm going to pause there for just a second. We're going to get set up to start getting horses through this spot. I will be back in about 30 seconds. Nice and cool in case this one burns out. We're unable to monitor the YouTube comments. So keep writing them in there because we have our folks, the rest of our live team will be monitoring some of these live feeds and can text us if there's any burning questions that you have. So put them in the chat regardless. I just apologize in advance. I won't be able to see them from where I am live streaming. And another heads up that depending on how spread out the leaders are here and how we're able to transmit from up here, at some point we may go off live and start uploading videos to the Facebook group. So if you go to www.teviscup.org and click on Ride Day Links. If you scroll down, there's a big yellow button that says Ride Day Links. Our Facebook, Tevis Facebook page is up there. And if our live feed here doesn't work for whatever reason, we'll get videos of the horses coming through and upload them as soon as we get them. So you'll have an opportunity to see them essentially live, maybe a couple of minutes delayed. So I wanted to make a note on the Western States Trail Foundation. I know Lucy was live at Elephant's Trunk and also at Deadwood. I was able to catch some of her commentary at Elephant's Trunk. I wasn't able to catch much at Deadwood, so I don't know how much she spoke to the Western States Trail Foundation and its work, preserving the Western States Trail up here. As I'm sure you can all imagine that since the inception of this ride, the logistics of holding a 100-mile ride between Truckee and Auburn, through kind of the heart of the Sierras in Northern California, is very complicated. There are a lot of different land managers. The Western States Trail Foundation has to procure permits through U.S. Forest Service. There may be some BLM land that the trail goes on. There's definitely the Auburn State Recreation Area. There's a lot of different land managers to work with. There's working with CHP. There's just a lot of logistics to do with the ride. And there are different private landowners along the trail. And, and then the trail itself changes. There's fires that occur, on the trail every few years. And there's snowpacks. And I know Lucy was talking earlier about how the trail is going to be rerouted in the Granite Chief Wilderness around the bog area and a little bit higher up to avoid some of the wet spots. And so, it's good to remember that the trail is constantly evolving on this ride. And the Western States Trail Foundation, the Board of Governors, who make the decisions about the ride, they're always aiming to improve the ride, improve the trail, both for safety of the horses and riders and for the continued access to the ride and longevity of the ride, sustainability of the ride. You know, everyone wants to see this ride continue well into the future. So on that note, this site up at Chicken Hawk here, and I apologize, I might not get all of these facts correct, but I do know that this site was procured by the Western States Trail Foundation. It's used as, and that was done partially to have a big staging site that can be used in the future here for the Tevis Cup. So for example, in previous years, for the Tevis educational ride, which happens about a month out from the actual Tevis Cup ride, that educational ride used to stage at the Forest Hill Mill site, which is kind of the famous Forest Hill vet check that you'll see on the live feed in a little bit. But again, that site belongs to a private landowner, and it's not always easy to work out the logistics of, you know, hosting a bunch of horses and rigs on a private site. So in recent years, the educational ride has moved up here to Chicken Hawk, which is a great location for it because you're right kind of in the heart of one of the more challenging parts of the ride. And you can get to the canyons easy from this site, and it's just a nice big wide site in the trees. There are restrooms up here. So that's been a nice development in recent years. Other developments include kind of the development and beautification of the overlook, which is at the official finish of the Tevis Cup ride in Auburn. And so there's been, you know, some really nice efforts there to build out that location, you know, put improvements into the water trough there, make improvements to the parking and kind of the routing of some other things at that site. So that's been another effort. And then of course, you know, every year there is, you know, a non-insignificant amount of trail work that has to occur between both the running of the Western States Endurance Run and the running of the Western States Trail Ride. They share a lot of the same trail, not 100% of the same trail, but they share a lot of the same trail. And both organizations do work together at certain points to clear and maintain and fix and you know, kind of prepare both those, prepare the trail for both those events. So I'm sure it's been mentioned at many points earlier in the live stream today, but Nicole Wirtz, who is riding, takes a lot of that on and is kind of the trail master on the Board of Governors and spends a lot of time in the off season maintaining the trail. And again, it varies from year to year. In some years, there's a lot of snowpack, and the you know, the high country trails need a lot of work. Some years we get a fire through the lower parts of the trail, and you know, for example, after the mosquito fire, I think there was a significant amount of work that had to be done on the California Loop. And then, you know, heavy snow year or wildfires notwithstanding, regular trail maintenance notwithstanding, as I said before, the Board of Governors are always looking for ways to improve the trail, make it safer. And I know in recent years there's been a lot of efforts in widening certain sections of trail, and kind of improving some areas that, you know, have maybe suffered some erosion or maybe weren't that wide to begin with. So yeah, just a little, kind of wanted to just provide a little bit of background information on all of the efforts that go into maintaining this trail. So that's good timing, because right now we have our first horse and rider coming through. And this, I think this is Sonoma Blakely. So your number one horse and rider, Sonoma Blakely, looking great. Woo woo! Looking good. Okay. So that was your first horse and rider through Chicken Hawk, Sonoma Blakely, and I don't have my phone with me. Her horse's name is Cardi. Her mare's name is Cardi. I can't remember her full registered name. If someone would kindly put that in the YouTube chat for me, that would be very helpful. Sometimes late in the day, I might have known that horse's name at 5 in the morning this morning. In fact, I probably did. It's Calypso Cardamom. I'm sorry, I botched her registered name, but she's a mare. I believe Sonoma rode her last year. So SS Calypso's Cardamom. SS Calypso's Cardamom. All right. Sorry, Sonoma, for botching your mare on the first try there. They looked really good. So I haven't heard any cheering from up Chicken Hawk since I think I heard Sonoma come in. So she might have a fair bit of a lead there on who I assume are the next folks coming through would be Jeremy and Heather, if you're to believe the trackers. So, yes, thank you all. We have our comments up so I can see. Thank you for putting her mare's name in the chat. I think I hear maybe some rustling. Oh, okay. We do have the Reynolds in at Chicken Hawk. Okay, and actually, here they come. Good timing. So you're going to see Jeremy off and running Treasure here. He's going to be your second rider. And Heather's not that far behind him. Up, down. Oh, sorry. I guess they're waiting. He knows the trail. Here's your second place rider, Heather Reynolds on Sonic. Woo woo! Here's woo woo! Okay, so there's your third place rider, Jeremy Reynolds, running Treasure. And I've had the distinct privilege of being able to cover certain parts of the Tevis Cup ride over the last few years, and I can tell you it's very common to see Jeremy off running Treasure at various points during the ride. I believe Jeremy is one of the elite few who have completed both the Tevis Cup and the Western States Endurance Run. I used to know the number off the top of my head of folks who had done so, but as you can imagine, it's not a big group of people. It's an elite crew, and even a smaller number of people who have done the Triple Cripple, which is the World Championship Ride and Tie, the Western States Ride, and the Western States Endurance Run. And I'm gonna take this moment to make a shameless plug for Ride and Tie that if you're ever interested in trying to do all three, I would say the Ride and Tie is probably the easiest entry, most accessible, and I might venture to say, depending on your Ride and Tie partner, the most fun of the three. And so the Ride and Tie might be a good place to start. And we need more Ride and Tie competitors, but neither here nor there right now. But Jeremy has done the Western States Endurance Run, and he's completed Tevis many times. 9 times. No, that was Oh, this is his 10th. That's right. Okay, thank you. Yes, he's completed Tevis 9 times, and I think he did the endurance run once. He might have even done it twice, but yeah, good. It's it's very impressive to see him off running. Both he and Treasure are just yeah, they're just so impressive to see. So after those 3, I believe there was maybe a bit of a gap between, yeah, between the next group of riders, but actually they really should be in any minute. We had Ranvig, Amote. I'm sorry, Ranvig, if I said your name wrong. I heard Lucy saying it earlier and I tried to remember. She was out of Michigan Bluff at 4:20, and Andy Botello was out of Michigan Bluff at 4:30. Karen Donnelly was out of Michigan Bluff also at 4:30. And Jay Marrow was out of Michigan Bluff at 4:33. Oh, wow. There's actually quite a tight group coming in that will round out your top 10. It sounds like everyone was recently out of Michigan Bluff sometime in the last 10 minutes. So again, it takes, depending on how fast they go between Michigan Bluff and Chicken Hawk. I'm a back of the packer, so I cannot speak to the speed that the top riders cover between Michigan Bluff and Chicken Hawk, but I always think it's somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, depending on whether you walk or trot. You know, the horses are climbing out of a pretty exposed canyon up to Michigan Bluff, and that, you know, I would say of all the points in the ride, the top of Devil's Thumb and the top there at Michigan Bluff is kind of where the horses are the most hot and need some time cooling. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people spend a little bit of time getting them cooled out in Michigan Bluff and take their time coming up to Chicken Hawk. As a reminder, there used to be a vet check at Michigan Bluff. That's been moved here. And so in Michigan Bluff, it's just, you know, some water, some buckets out there to cool the horses. A lot of people will choose to have their crew meet them there because that's when you can really get the horse cooled out a bit before they climb up to Chicken Hawk. It's not much of a climb, you know, especially compared to what they'd just done, but it is a hot, exposed road. And so, you know, I'm sure they don't want to get them too hot coming into Chicken Hawk here because, again, it's only 4 miles to Forest Hill, and they get a nice long break at Forest Hill to, you know, eat, relax, get cooled down, get prepared for the last little bit here. So while we're waiting for the next riders, hopefully my connection works with me here, because I kind of wanted to just show this lovely trail. If we kind of get too glitchy, we'll go back, but I just want to spend a minute here showing folks while we're waiting. Kind of just this, it's kind of hard with the sun, but this is just a really lovely, pretty point in the ride here with, again, between here and Forest Hill, a pretty lovely little trail down to the road and then climbing out Volcano Canyon. Okay, so it sounds like we have rider number 48, Ranvig Amote. She's into Chicken Hawk, and so we'll expect to see her sometime in the next 10 minutes trotting by. And then Andy Botello and Karen Donnelly came into Michigan Bluff pretty close after she did, so we're going to see a few more horses here pretty soon trotting by. And if you're just tuning in and joining us, we're here at Chicken Hawk, which is mile 64 into the Tevis Cup ride. And we've just had 3 horses pass us. Sonoma Blakely was in first place, and Heather and Jeremy Reynolds were kind of riding together. Heather passed second, Jeremy passed third, and we're waiting for what is, I believe, our 4th through 6th place riders right now to vet through and come out on the trail. Our location on the trail is, maybe quarter mile down the trail from the Chicken Hawk Vet Check. We're kind of on a trail that the Western States Trail Foundation put in a few years ago to route through what used to be called Piper Junction here. And it is a beautiful shady little spot, and this part of the trail did not burn in that fire, this little section. It's really nice. Air temp right here, honestly, honestly guys, this is like mid to high 80s up here. I mean, granted, we're in the shade, but it's a really nice temperature where we're standing right here. Yeah, for 4:45 in the afternoon. I know that today was kind of billed as a hot day, and I think Lucy was probably pretty hot where she was kind of on that exposed ridge at Deadwood, but right up here in Chicken Hawk, it's I gotta tell you, it's pretty lovely. And I think we were seeing that the top 3 horses, at least in my opinion, looked pretty darn good, pretty darn perky and moving really well, and looked well recovered at this point. So that is yeah, and I don't know what it is down in Auburn right now. I think we were promised triple digits today, but up here it's pretty nice. We're checking right now what the air temp in Auburn is. I guess check Forest Hill. I wonder if we're at an anomaly here. We're not that much higher than Forest Hill. We're kind of right here. So temp for Forest Hill right now says it's 89. Yeah, we're kind of right on it. It might seem like high temperatures. It's pretty dry out here. I mean, granted, I'm not climbing up into Michigan Bluff right now. But, you know, it's a nice dry heat. I always hear from riders that come over from the East Coast like, this is actually quite lovely. So it definitely helps with cooling. You get that nice evaporative cooling effect when you put water on your horses. And so I'm hoping that this bodes well for, you know, the teams that are still out in the canyons. I know that it's a little hotter than it is right here, but I'll tell you what, it is not high 90s here. It is at least 10 degrees cooler, so that's really nice to realize. Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag every year with the weather. Sometimes we get really lucky, sometimes we don't get lucky, and that's just part of the deal. You bring a horse that is fit for the high temperatures, because you might get them. So it's sounding pretty quiet in the vet check right now. What that tells me is I think it's just the 3 in. I haven't heard any more cheering. But we'll expect to see them in a little bit. I think I see an out-tiner standing up there. So for those interested in kind of jumping or monitoring both live feeds and trying to catch the front runners coming into Forest Hill, so we're about 4 miles from Forest Hill right now. And Sonoma and Heather and Jeremy came by here about 10 minutes ago. And so, yeah, I'd say about 20 more minutes, 15 minutes, maybe pop over there. The one thing I have noticed, and I'm sure those following along closely have also noticed this, is there's a bit of a lag time on some of the trackers. And that just has to do with the GPS signal. You know, it's beaming up through tree cover. Also, if you're in a steep canyon, sometimes the signal is lost in the canyon walls. And so especially between here and Forest Hill, there's a lot of tree cover, and they're going down into Volcano Canyon. And so the trackers might not be completely accurate between here and Forest Hill. So if you're really interested in watching them, you know, come up Bath Road, keep that in mind. You want to might want to switch over at some point, maybe monitor both things here, because we're going to start seeing the rest of our top 10 come through here. So here we have our fourth rider out from Chicken Hawk, Ranvig Amote. She's rider number 48, and we'll get details on her horse. Although, of course, at this point, and I hear more people coming into Chicken Hawk. At this point, it's right up there on the Tevis Cup live feed. The webcast. Hi! How's your ride going? Good? Looking good. Have a good rest of your ride.
Yes, thank you for being out here.
Yeah, of course. Okay, I believe the mare's name was Jezebel. Sorry, we're Sorry, we're having watch duty report a fire near where I'm from. So sorry for that delay there. I'm a bit distracted. Give me a second. Yeah. For which way is it going? Oh, yikes. Okay. Go on the Windy app. Sorry for the delay. This is the ever-present now Northern California fire dance. You get a little watch duty alert, and you check the wind direction, and you check the updates on the app. Right now we're fine. We're just getting some information while we have a bit of a break. But I'll be back in about 20 seconds because I think the next two riders are coming down. Well, let's see if you zoom out here. Oh, weird. So usually you can tell by, let's go down again. Yeah, go to watch duty. Sorry. Yeah, it's blowing north. Yeah, so it's okay. Well, yeah, not. We're not evacuating horses right now. All right, again, sorry about that. If you live in California, Oregon, or any of the western states, you know. If you know, you know. Anyway, there's a fire. I live on the other side of, I live in Lake County, and there's a fire in Hopland on the other side of 101, and I don't think it's jumped 101 yet, but it's a long way from my house. But for those in the know, it's just always a nervous time of year. This, I was talking a little bit before, there's been a number of big fires come through the trail here. There was the mosquito fire. I believe that was the one that burned through the California Loop and caused some damage on the California Loop. And there was also a fire a number of years ago up near Robinson Flat. And yeah, certain parts going up to Robinson Flat are looked like they just got burned down to moonscape. And so, we're in the fire season here in Northern California, and that's just a reality of where we live. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a little update. We have Karen Donnelly and Andy Botello. We're in at Chicken Hawk at 4:45, about 10 minutes ago. So we're going to expect them any minute here, coming down the trail. And then Jay Marrow, she was in at 4:50, not that far behind. So this is really exciting. We have a pretty close top 10. It looks like a lot of these riders have been trading places within the top 10 for a while. And after the top 10, it looks like Wash Blakely at least he had checked out of El Dorado Creek. So, and Emily Farmer, they were kind of riding together. Also, yeah, Nicole looks like a little further out behind, but you never know, folks, just because of the nature of where the checkpoints are and how the GPS trackers are pinging, you can get folks trading places around and can come out of the canyons in a bit of a different configuration than when where the webcast is showing them at certain points. But this top 10 group of horses and riders are very close together. It looks like some of them have even been riding together at least since Robinson Flat, or really close together. So that is exciting. And it's just also good to note that of the 10, and I'm sure at this point, folks that have been listening to the stream have been hearing this information over and over, but in the top 10 riders, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 past Tevis Cup winners. So that's Sonoma Blakely, Jeremy Reynolds, Heather Reynolds, Karen Donnelly, Jay Marrow, and Susie Hayes. I think Susie's won it. I might be wrong on that. Apologies, or maybe she got let's look her up here. Sorry, yeah, if someone can correct me on that. I can't. And then Suzanne Ford Huff is always in the top 10. Like every year she does this, it seems like she's in the top 10. I don't know if she has a Tevis win or a Hagen Cup win yet. And then Molly Quiroz has been in the top 10 the past couple years with Mac, with the horse she's on today. So again, of the and then the riders that haven't won or gotten Hagen Cup, Andy Botello is riding a past Tevis Cup winner. And of the horses they're on, Jeremy's riding a past Tevis Cup and Hagen Cup winner. Heather's riding a past Tevis Cup winner. Andy's riding a past Tevis Cup winner. And let's see, Sonoma, Jeremy, Heather. I have to look at Ranvig's horse. Karen, Andy, Jay, Molly, Suzanne, and Susie. And I don't know about Suzanne and Susie's horses, but a bunch of those horses in there are multiple top 10 finishers. So this is a very, very experienced pack of top 10 horses and riders. I might have gotten some of the details wrong, but the overarching, Susie has not won. Okay, thank you guys. Susie has not won. Sorry about that misstep. Susie has been in the top 10 multiple times now. So yeah, thank you for that correction. Susie has not won. But why wouldn't I think that? She's, it's an illustrious group in the top 10, which is really, really fun to see, a competitive group. I will note though that they are running a bit slow this year compared to previous years. As I was saying earlier, it's a bit cooler here at Chicken Hawk. It's high 80s. I wasn't in the canyons. I can't speak to how hot it was in the canyons. Lucy, I'm sure, spoke to that, and so they might have slowed down a bit in the canyons. I know that their time into Robinson Flat was a bit slower as well, and so I don't know. I don't know if that means that the trail itself is slowing some riders down. Maybe the trail's in a bit different condition and warrants going slower. I will say this is, as I noted, a very experienced group of riders in the top 10, and so folks are just riding a smart ride, you know, for their horses and within their horses' abilities. That might affect it as well. I'm just surmising, though. Kind of a bit of a, you know, wondering. So here's the next. This looks like Molly. Kiro's on Mac. Chindanka's Express. He was a racehorse. He came off the track. Woo! Go Molly! Looking good. That's Molly and Mac. And right behind is Dr. J. Marrow on Aria. She rode this mare last year. Looking good, Jay! Thank you. And she was going to take her mare Lena, who has been very successful in the past, but ran into some problems, took Aria instead. Here's Karen Donnelly and Andy Botello riding Karen's horses. Good job, you guys. Looking good.
Thanks.
Woo woo. So I'm sure by now we've probably heard the fun facts about this top 10 group of horses and riders from every person that's gone on the live feed, but I always like to point out, you know, fun facts when I can remember them. And the mare Andy's on, Royal Patron, won this ride in 2016 with Karen Donnelly, who was ahead of him there. And she is 24 this year. Okay, so, and just kind of to cap that, you know, it's pretty amazing to have a horse compete at a really high level over a long period of time and come back and, you know, come to this ride and look, you know, just, I thought she looked fabulous there going down the trail at age 24, you know, in what is that? She was in 7th place there. Andy in, yeah, 8th place, 7th and 8th place. Just you know, just a great testament to the horses doing well. You know, I think can't quite remember the bloodlines of Royal Patron. I don't know if she's race bred off the top of my head. I might have known at one point, but obviously an exceptionally well-bred, well-cared for horse with a long, illustrious career, and is out here at age 24 looking great. So it looks like Suzanne Ford Huff and Susie Hayes are both in Chicken Hawk right now, so they're going to be coming out soon. Then Nicole Wirtz, John Perry, and Emily Farmer were out of Michigan Bluff just now, so we'll expect them in about 20 minutes. And then it looks like we might have a bit of a gap, but we'll see if the webcast updates. But this is kind of how the field usually ends up stringing out at the Tevis Cup. The top 10 horses and riders are usually pretty close together, and then it strings out along the mid pack, and then there's usually a bunch of folks in the mid pack to back of the pack. And so and it kind of bears that out when we get to the finish, that, you know, you'll have top 10 horses and riders come into the finish within 2 hours of each other usually, and then you kind of get horses and riders trickling in throughout the night, and the exciting buckle hour from 4 a.m. to 5:15 is when you get a lot of teams coming in. So just for folks that are maybe tuning in now and haven't heard our comments on the rest of the live stream coverage throughout the day, we'll be here for a little while longer. And right now, if you're interested in seeing the front runners come into Forest Hill, I might check that feed and see if it's up yet. And then Kristen will be at Forest Hill doing live coverage of the Forest Hill vet check, I think until the last horses and riders are through Forest Hill, and that is usually 9:30-ish. Okay, I hear folks coming into the vet check, so we'll have some more folks trotting by in a minute. And Lucy, I think, is going to be down at Francisco's. I think I heard her mention that at Deadwood, and she might not. I think she was saying she's going to try to get some coverage while it's still a little light out, but most of Francisco's is pretty dark, and most of the horses and riders, by the time they get to Francisco's, and certainly this year, because it's not a super fast year, will be in the dark there. So I think she's going to try to see what she can get there, which is exciting. I don't think we've ever had live coverage or even live video updates from Francisco's, and it's a really beautiful, special spot. So it'll be and those who've watched before or been here before might remember there's a timed finish, and then there's a victory lap around McCann Stadium down at the Golden the fairgrounds. Come on, brain, keep up. And so the horses timed, like official time, will end at the Auburn Overlook. I was kind of talking about the Auburn Overlook a little earlier, and then they'll walk down to the stadium, do their victory lap, and actually all of the vetting and crewing takes place down in the stadium. Some years we've had two streams simultaneously. Some years we've had, depending on how the field is, there'll be someone, getting horses coming in and then following them down to the stadium. So we'll keep you updated on that. So just keep following our Facebook page, our YouTube, and for updates. So we have our next two teams leaving the Chicken Hawk Vet Check right now. That's Susie Hayes in front and Suzanne Ford Huff behind her. Woo-hoo! Looking good. Winding down the trail there. So yeah, we'll keep you updated on what our plan is with regards to the plan for the finish tonight. After about the top 10 come in and the field strings out a bit, there's usually a little bit too much dead air to be live throughout the night, but we will have someone in the stadium getting videos and posting them to our Facebook page live. So if you have a rider that you want to see come in, they will be posted, I believe, on the Facebook page. And then we will be back, myself and my husband here will be back at 4 a.m. for the buckle hour, and we'll be covering the teams that are finishing in that last hour of the ride time. So at the conclusion at 5:15, and actually we'll probably end up staying live a little bit past 5:15 just to kind of watch folks crew their horses, and that's just really exciting down there as the last teams finish, and you can see the the kind of the dawn turn into morning. It's just a kind of a special morning. We'll end the live coverage, and then we will come back at 10 a.m. for the Hagen Cup judging. And I'll talk a bit more about Hagen Cup for those who aren't initiated to the Hagen Cup at that point, but that is essentially a oh yeah, okay, sorry, I'll get back to that. I'm just reading some comments here. Okay, great. So I had a request to talk about different tack choices, saddles, bridles, shoes. I can certainly do that. Question on, has John Perry made it through yet? I believe he's coming through really quickly. They left Michigan Bluff, so they're coming up any time now. Someone asked, did Jeepers and AP make it past the Deadwood vet check? We will check when we have a minute. Or if someone who's monitoring the feed, feel free to drop in an update on Jeepers and AP. Someone said she is race bred. I think that commenter is referring to Royal Patron. That was my recollection too. Thank you for that confirmation there. Someone asked, is Chicken Hawk another gate and go? Yes, Chicken Hawk is a gate and go, and what that means is when the horses come in, as soon as they pulse down, they are free to vet through and leave. Someone said it's so hot. It's actually pretty comfortable here. It's high 80s. I think it was more hot where Lucy was in Deadwood. It's a very exposed ridge up there. We're in the tree cover here at Chicken Hawk. Our air temperature is 89. It's very comfortable. So I think they're out of the woods. At least the horses passing here as far as heat goes. It's pretty nice here. So let's see, a couple more. Forest Hill is live, thank you. So for folks who want to see horses coming in at Forest Hill, the live feed is up. And sorry, I'm just scrolling through. And okay, great. Okay. Sorry, just making sure I answer all the questions. Okay. Yep. Okay, so wanted to talk a little bit about the tack and saddle choices. That's a really good suggestion. And I know someone had asked that before, and I meant to do that as horses have been coming by. So I'll remember to do that now. I don't want to try to guess off the top of my head what hoof wear and saddles they had on them. If you pop over to Forest Hill at some point, make sure to ask, just drop that question in the feed again for Kristen down there, and hopefully she'll be able to get some shots of some hoof wear. You know, I've seen I've seen the gamut here today, and that's usually the case at the Tevis Cup, is that, you know, it's really a case of what works best for the horse and the rider and the farrier that they have and what they usually train on at home and what they've become accustomed to. I've seen a lot of the synthetic shoes, the glue-on shoes. A lot of those, I'm assuming a lot of those are the Easy Care brand, but there's other brands out there, and without looking hard, I don't want to guess how many of those I've seen. I've seen the traditional kind of the older school nail-on steel shoes with pads. I know a lot of people for this ride will put a pad or put in a pour-in pad and nail with steel. I haven't seen, this is a change from when I last did Tevis, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now. I'm not seeing that many strap-on boots. There weren't really that many strap-on boots here to begin with, but I'm not seeing very many at all now. You know, mostly people elected to glue on. I think I have seen a few glue-on boots, but if people aren't nailing with steel and pads, I've been seeing a lot of those, not remembering the word, but the glue-on shoes with the tabs, and they're not synthetic shoes. Oh, brain. Crashing out. I'll remember, it'll come into my brain again. Same with saddles. I mean, you see it all here. I'll try to call out some saddles as I see them roll by. So yeah, thanks for that reminder on trying to provide a little more information on the tack and the shoes as we see them out here. Another great suggestion is we used to have a lot of times the ride photographers will post their photos online. And I know in the past when I was really interested, when I was getting into Tevis originally and trying to figure it all out and get my horse into endurance and go through the, all of the testing out different things and what works better. And it's just you got to go through that process. I spent a lot of time looking at pictures of what people at Tevis were riding in and what they were wearing. And, that also helps. So when I believe in the past we have shared, the Tevis Facebook page has shared some of those albums that the ride photographers have up. The Tevis web page might also as well. I will ask Lucy. I think she's the one that knows the most about the Tevis web page. But that is also a great resource if you're interested in going through and looking at what the various tack choices that people made. And, but it is nice to see how the horses are traveling and what they're wearing. So, yeah, it's a good suggestion. Okay, we're just going through some comments, seeing if we can answer any more questions. Someone asked, do you think the synthetics are softer on their joints? You know what? It's so hard to say at this ride. The one thing I'll say is that horses have been competing and winning this ride in steel since the 50s. I am certainly not qualified to answer that question from my layman's understanding of hoof mechanics. And I do know that I see a lot of horses shod in synthetics. Again, it seems like folks are moving away from, the old glue-ons and moving more towards those synthetics with the tabs that, kind of have more of the open sole. So, is reactor panels still common? I don't know. I'll check. I haven't been keyed into that this year. I'm sure reactor panel is still common at Tevis. It's a brand that a lot of people like and use. Yeah, they also have a vendor booth here. There are a couple that have some strap-on boots. Someone wrote in the comments, thanks for that. We'll keep an eye out for them. Let's see. Okay, that's all for, oh, someone had asked how the juniors are doing and how the mule is doing. We'll try to get an update on that. We haven't seen anyone come through yet. So far, we've just seen, I think, the first 10 horses and riders come through. And so I think the juniors, I'm guessing, are about an hour behind those first 10 horses. It looks like our first junior out on course here. And please take this with a grain of salt because these standings don't update at the same time. But I'm guessing it's going to be one of the some of the Crater Hill folks. Yeah, Tierney Bellerberg. Oh, she might be coming in soon. No, they're still out. She was last out at Deadwood at 3:30. So, and Kendall Groth is another junior. She was out with Tierney. So they're not going to come through here for a little bit. I think the next riders we're expecting here to come by at Chicken Hawk are number 9, John Perry. He was the Hagen Cup winner last year. He's on the same mare. And Emily Farmer. And also, it looks like Haley Estevez as well is riding with them. So that's kind of the next little group. Oh, and we haven't seen Nicole Wirtz yet either. So I think she and John have been riding and training together. So they're probably going to be together coming out of Chicken Hawk here. Sounds like we had a few more just come in. It might have been Nicole and John. I thought I heard them in the vet check already, but So someone asked, how far is this location from Deadwood? Deadwood is at mile 55, and this location is at mile 64. So we're about 11 miles from Deadwood. And the trail, so from Deadwood, the vet check, the trail, you kind of get a nice long ridge to move out on. It's actually pretty nice footing on that ridge for at least a mile, maybe, and that before you drop into the canyon again. And so people can move out a little bit on that part. And then the second canyon between Deadwood and here, you can move out a lot more going downhill than you could going down the other canyon. You know, the trail is not as rocky. There's actually some somewhat flat sections that you can get up to a trot on. And same with the canyon coming out. It's nowhere near as steep. It is longer. It is more exposed, but there is actually some places where you can move out a little bit if your horse is feeling it. Most people just choose to walk that canyon. But it's 11 miles, but it's going to be a slow going 11 miles. You know, this section of the ride between Last Chance really and Chicken Hawk here is the most slow going part of the ride. It's the toughest part of the ride in my opinion. From here on, you know, as I was saying before, the third canyon, Volcano Canyon, is like the little baby sister. It is a nice kind of winding, beautiful trail down that kind of switchbacks around, and then you cross Volcano Creek, and it's a rocky climb, but it's not a very long climb, and halfway up you're on Bath Road. So it's, by the time they're leaving Chicken Hawk, I don't want to say it's 4 easy miles to Forest Hill because not much on this trail is, I would call it easy, but compared to what they've been through, it's a little bit of a place to relax a little bit and just let your horse flow. So yeah, but folks who have left Deadwood recently, probably not going to see them for a couple hours, I think. Someone asked what the temperature, it's high 80s. We have 89 on our little air temperature measurer here, and pretty lover. Yeah, so someone had asked, has someone ever walked with their horse next way? I'm sure folks have covered this earlier because it's part of the lore of the Western States Trail Ride, but back in the 1970s, there's a man named Gordy Ainsley, and he was a horseback rider. He, I think, had done Tevis the year before, and the year coming up, he wanted to do Tevis again, and I think there was an issue with his horse. The horse went lame a week from the ride or a couple weeks from the ride, and he still wanted to participate. And so he contacted the ride director at the time and got the okay to run the ride. And I might actually be getting my lore a bit wrong, because I think I remember reading that the year before or something, he had run a significant portion of the trail with his horse. So maybe that's where he got the idea, like, I can't bring my horse, but I can run the trail myself. And he finished, and the ride director told him, like, might have even been Wendell. Apologies if I'm getting my lore wrong, but yeah, you can do the ride, but you know, no one's going to be catering to you, and you got to finish in 24 hours, and he did. And the next year he brought another runner, and the next year there were more runners that came and more runners that came, and eventually there were so many runners that they decided having so many runners and horses on the same trail on the same day was probably not the best idea. So there was a crew of folks. Shannon Ewell Wheel was one of them. She's always a local favorite here. We see at the Western States Trail Ride. They got together and started the Western States Endurance Run. And from its humble beginnings of one person running the Tevis Cup, it's grown into one of the premier ultra running races in the entire world, with incredibly competitive field. really hard to get spaces for. And so that's a really, yeah, fun little piece of history with the Western States Trail Ride. Just kind of on the question in general, people often get off their horses and run. I was talking a little bit beforehand about, we saw Jeremy run by with Treasure, and I was commenting that I usually see Jeremy off the horse running. It's something that he does a lot. I know that another Tevis Cup winner, Garrett Ford, I believe also has run the Western States Endurance Run, and I do know that he was off his horse a lot when he was here competing in the canyons. So yeah, it is really a matter of the rider and the horse in their decision to get off and run. Some riders, they get off and they run, and they're great runners, and they don't get in the way of the horse and gives the horse a break. And other riders feel like, I think I can make better time just staying on the horse. And it's really just down to the individual, horse. No, no requirement that the rider has to stay on the horse for any length of time. So, I mean, in theory, I guess you could. So it sounds like we have some more folks in at Chicken Hawk. Oh, we got some people trotting to the out timer here. All right, they're coming quick. And I think this is John Perry and Nicole Wirtz. Nicole is riding SV Sammy, and John Perry is on My Diva. And both those horses are veterans of Tevis. So this is Nicole Wirtz on Sammy in front, and John Perry behind on Diva.
Hello. Hi guys.
Hey! They've been, I think, doing the ride together. I think I heard Lucy saying that they've been doing a lot of training together. It's really nice to come out here and have your training partner be your Tevis riding partner. It's hard to find someone with a horse that travels at the same speed and goes along well with your horse. So, and I think Nicole and Sammy were in the top 10 last year. John Perry certainly was. John and Diva were the Hagen Cup recipients last year. But I believe Nicole was also in the top 10 on Sammy. And Sammy I think Sammy is also off the track and might have raced. I know he's race bred. I believe he might have raced. I'm sure folks who know more than I do will comment in the comment section. But it's really fun. Kind of one thing that I think it's really fun to notice and comment on is the evolution of the horses that you see here at the Tevis Cup, not just in the different breeds and how do I call it, patterns in breeds and, you know, different kinds of horses that people are riding, but also in the different bloodlines of Arabians that people are riding. Because I think there's been, you know, a big, you know, race-bred Arabs have always, you know, been around and been at the Tevis Cup, but there really has been, it seems like in the last few years, a big pulse in the number of certainly people riding up front in the top of the field on race-bred Arabs, horses that have come off the track. And you know, it's just really fun to note some of the changes in the bloodlines people favor over the years. Obviously they do well here, they do excellent here. You know, it's, you could probably, you know, count the Arabs with race bloodlines in the top 10, and it's probably a pretty good portion, if not the majority of them. So that's really fun to see, and it's really good to see horses come off the track and have incredibly successful careers in endurance. That's really fun. Okay, so we're going to go back to a few more of your questions in the feed here. So someone asked, wasn't it 2024 when he and Heather crossed together in the finish line? They came across the finish line first together, and Heather got first place. I'll put it that way. Let's see, more questions. Let's see. Yeah, someone had made a note. Yelena, hi Yelena. The Forest Hill stream is a good chance to see your favorites because that goes for a long time. It's an hour hold. Absolutely. That, in my opinion, is if you ever want to come up to the Tevis Cup and spectate, that is the place to go. It's really fun up there. It's really exciting. You get to see the horses for a long time. They're crewing and cooling up kind of just in the middle of this big vet check. It's really exciting walk up Bath Road, and the live stream has a lot to look at. We're just kind of seeing these guys go by on the trail, which I think is really fun, but there's a lot of buzz and activity at Forest Hill. So if you see your favorites go by, give them about a half hour and switch over to the Forest Hill feed. Woo woo! Looking good.
That's Emily Farmer.
That's Emily Farmer. Thank you. It's on the tip of my tongue. So yes, that's Emily Farmer out of Visalia on her Arab Cross Najee. That was Emily Farmer.
The next rider should be about 10 minutes back.
Okay, so my standing scanner here is telling me that the next horse and rider should be about 10 minutes back. We'll go answer some more of your questions here. Let's see. So we're getting a lot of questions on updates about particular teams. So we can look them up here from our phones on the Tevis Cup, our various channels, which are basically the webcast, the GPS trackers. But we have access to all the same tools you all have. The only little piece of information that I have that no one else has is that I can see up the hill to the chicken hawk, the out timer, and I can see when there's a horse at the out timer. And then, that's like the little bit of information that I know before anyone else. So if you're interested in a particular horse or rider team, go to www.teviscup.org, scroll down, and there is a link like right there that says 2026 Ride Day links. I believe it's either a yellow or a green button. Click on that, and there will be a list of links. I suggest clicking on the webcast, and that is kind of like the official standings of Tevis Cup as folks go through these various checks. Those, like I was saying before, are not completely up to date to the minute or even the hour, because the checkpoints, especially at this part of the ride, are either at the top of a canyon or the bottom of a canyon, and it could be 45 minutes or more before the rider makes it up to the other side and checks into the next checkpoint. But it will have an updated list of pulls. It will have an updated list of like where your rider last checked in. If you want a little bit more granularity in your information, I guess with respect to time, and they have a GPS tracker, just scroll back down to that tracking link, and you'll be able to find your rider that way. Caveat, I don't think everyone's wearing a tracker. Not all the trackers are working all the time. If they're in a canyon or under tree cover, the tracker will not be, it'll be slow to update, but that will give you a bit more information than the webcast will. Someone had asked, are mules allowed? Absolutely, we have a mule this year. Shane Lesher on Lotto Ticket is the only mule entered, and Ticket is going for her 5th Tevis completion, which would put her on the Roby Cup trophy, which is reserved for horses who who have completed Tevis, equines, I should say, that have completed Tevis 5 times. And Ticket would be the first mule if she gets her completion today. So absolutely mules are allowed. There's 1 mule this year. There's been mules in the past. A mule won the Hagen Cup in 1996. Ruby was her name. Let's see. Yeah, Sammy is off track. Thank you. Thank you. And I think so is Diva. Yeah, we have a lot of off-track horses this year. And Mac, the horse Molly Kuros was riding, Mac is also off track. Okay. Let's see. Someone said something about gated riders come out of this with a real advantage, easier on the posterior over long distances. I can actually speak to this with a fair amount of knowledge because I have attempted and failed and attempted and succeeded at riding gated horses through the Tevis Cup, in a few years past. And I will say that depending on the gated horse and how smooth they are, they can be they can be smooth over certain distances. You're not posting like you would a trot, so maybe you're not using your muscles as much. But gated riders have a challenge bringing a gated horse to Tevis. I love gated horses. I own gated horses. I ride gated horses. I've ridden them in endurance, but I will I'll be the first to say that they just are not as metabolically gifted as Arabs are. It takes them longer to cool off and pulse down than Arabs are. You really have to manage them. I personally love it because it makes me a better horseman. And the finish that I got on my gated horse, I savor it so much. It's just, I feel triumphant about it. But it's a lot of management. And so it really depends. It's much harder, I think, to bring a non-Arab to Tevis. Of course, all horses, all breeds, within reason, there's outstanding individuals in every breed that are certainly capable of coming to this ride and finishing. And I don't want to dissuade anyone from trying on a breed that's not an Arabian, but make sure they love to go down the trail. That's number one. If you're going to, make sure they absolutely love going down the trail. Make sure they're a good eater. Make sure that they have a good disposition and they're not real wired or flighty, because you're already going to be at a disadvantage with pulsing. And just get really good at managing them throughout the ride and cooling them and making sure you have crew in good places and knowing their advantages and playing those up and making time where you can. But it's a whole nother ride, in my opinion. It's you definitely have some additional challenges, maybe some things that are easier, maybe some things that are harder, but that's kind of the real fun thing about this sport is, like, you bring a new horse and the ride is different every time and every year is different. And I think it all just, it's in the service of becoming a better horseman. And kind of it's just like a personal note while I'm waxing philosophic here. I think one of the things that I most appreciate about this sport is the horsemanship aspect of it, that in order to do well, you're best served doing well by your horse and learning the vast number of things that you need to learn in order to be successful, and being open-minded and being open-minded and being flexible and being willing to change and not being stuck in one particular hoof gear or saddle or way of training or way of riding just because it's the way you've done it. Every horse is different. And I personally believe that you and your horse are better served in this sport by constantly learning and being open and constantly trying to better yourself. And, the Tevis is a really good way to test your horsemanship. We got horses coming up the trail, so we'll take a look at who is that. Someone asked, don't gated horses go faster or downhill, but not ideal going uphill? yeah, in my experience, they do go faster downhill. Well, depending on certain trails, like a Arab trotting downhill. I mean, you know, that that's, you know, and any Arab trotting downhill can keep up with what a gaited horse is doing. I think where gaited horses have the advantage is when you're walking and you're walking through technical footing. So if you're going the pace that you're going to walk anyway, a gaited horse is going to be faster. But if you're going to plan on trotting a lot of the ride, you know, the trotting makes up for really any gait that you're doing. And so, yeah, it really depends on the horse, though. I could talk for probably 5 hours about gaited horses and their different gaits, and you know, it's very individualized. Some horses have, you know, faster gaits, some do better slower, some you just got to let pace because you're asking them, but they like really run the gamut. And it is, like, in my opinion, the most fascinating wormhole to go down. If you're interested in gaited horses, buckle up, because it's a very, very fun, fascinating wormhole. They are super cool critters. I happen to love them, and I also am eyes wide open about, you know, the extra challenges of doing things like this with them. Not that they can't do it, they absolutely can, and they can do it and be successful. John Henry has 5 Tevis completions. He's on the Roby Cup. He's a gaited critter. So let's see, more questions. And by the way, we're hearing more people come in, so we're going to have horses come through here in a few minutes. Just trying to ask questions. Someone asked, Lynn, hi Lynn, asked if Emily is who Lucy is crewing for. Yes, Lucy is crewing for Emily Farmer. Lynn, we miss you here. I hope you're doing well. Okay, let's see more questions. Someone was, you know, we had some curiosities about why certain horses have been pulled. Yeah, it doesn't seem like the pull list is being updated with the reasons right now. I don't know if that's kind of getting updated as time goes by, or if they're waiting for more of an official list, or they're waiting to get word. I can't speak to that right now. We'll try to take a look later and see if some of the earlier vet checks are updating why horses have been pulled, but I don't have information on why right now. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading through just to make sure we're getting all of the. Someone said, kind of asked why this stream wasn't at the vet check here. You know, it's a good question. We really debated ride this ride, and there's some really beautiful trail out here. Lucy and Abigail were showing part of it up in the high country. Lucy was at Elephant's Trunk. I mean, just it's stunning out there. And you know, we were kind of like walking around Chicken Hawk trying to figure out where we wanted to set up. And I think I've said this before in the live stream, but I love this section of trail on the Tevis Cup. This from Chicken Hawk to Forest Hill. The trail is just winding through the trees, and it's such beautiful footing. I mean, you know, the camera's pointed at the part of the trail right now. There's not a rock in sight, and so, you know, there's really, really lovely sections of trail on this ride, and this is one of them. And we wanted to take an opportunity to show you guys horses on the trail. Kind of makes the live feeds a bit more interesting than just having horses in vet checks. And I agree, that is interesting. And again, I'm going to put in a plug. If you want to go see horses at vet checks, highly recommend switching over to the Forest Hill live stream at some point. I think there's horses up there now, and I mean, it's very exciting. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. There's crews working. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to show. But again, it's horses in a vet check, and I didn't want to have horses in a vet check and then right after more horses in a vet check, because right now is really the last time we're going to be able to show horses on trail, because after Forest Hill, it gets dark, and I don't know how much Lucy's going to be able to show from Francisco's. Okay. Let's see. Ask some more. Let's see. I'm scrolling through to try to answer more questions here. I really appreciate them because it helps the time go by. I know that there's horses up there right now. I hear them. So there's going to be horses coming by at any minute. Yeah, and someone wrote a comment in here that I really resonate with, and I just wanted to speak a little bit to it, because I don't want people to get discouraged by me saying, you know, it's harder to get gaited horses through Tevis or other breeds. I think that if you have a horse that you love and you're dreaming of doing Tevis, just try to do some endurance on that horse. Even if it's not an Arab, even if people tell you this horse will never be able to do endurance, just start taking them to rides and see how they do. And if they love going down the trail, you just never on, and they finish the ride on that horse that they didn't think they could do Tevis on. Like it happens every year. And so don't get discouraged. Just see if your horse likes the sport. Try a couple years, work out your saddle and your footwear, and work out all your issues, and be open to learning, and dare to dream and train, and you might end up here. And I definitely did. Oh yeah, so one of those people, actually, I may as well talk about her because I'm just blabbering on. I have a couple people in mind, actually, that had gaited horses that didn't really think that their gaited horses could do it. One of them is Annette Phillips. I think she has 3 Tevis completions. And the first year she did it on her Tenuvian gelding Tonka. And that was in, I think, 2017, the year that we started in Soda Springs. And I remember her like sharing that she wasn't sure if Tonka could do it or not. He wasn't really an endurance horse. She had just been riding and camping a lot with him, and I mean, rode him all over the place. And Annette's a very, very good horsewoman. And they finished. Tonka did great. And another example was my really good friend, Laura Wereb. Some of you listening might remember Laura. She died of cancer back in 2021. She had a big gelding, a big, thick Tennessee Walker gelding named Merlin, who she got for like, I think $400 off Craigslist. And he had all sorts of physical issues. You know, he had kissing spine, I think. He had all sorts of things wrong with him. And she dared to dream and started doing endurance with him and got him sound. And he finished Tevis twice at like, I think the age of 20 and 21. He was an amazing horse. And so, yeah, just every year there's people that take their horses that they previously didn't think they could do it, and they end up doing it. So this ride is super doable. You can do it. If you're sitting at home thinking, I don't think I could ever do this ride, dare to dream. You might be able to do it. Okay, so we have Haley Estevez coming down the trail here. This is her, speaking of gaited horses, her Rocky Arab Cross. Woo, looking good. I remember this pair came in pretty close to the top 10 last year. I think they were 14. Haley lives local. I won't lie here. Okay, hopefully we're back. We were buffering for a minute. Yep. Yeah, someone said Sonoma's horse Goober was off Craigslist. Oh yeah, I just love it. You know, you just get Nicole Wirtz's horse Sammy has a great story. I'm not going to try to attempt to tell it because I don't know all the details. I'm going to end up botching it. But Mark Montgomery is another great example. He goes to the holding corrals and pulls BLM Mustangs. Oh my gosh, that guy has such a great eye for horses. Linda, his wife, does too. They go into the holding corral and pull horses and go packing with them, and they come in top 10 Tevis. It's amazing. So you know, we have, you know, Arabs off track here. I mean, horses in their second career. And so it's just, I just love it. You can just pick up, you know, you don't need to have a ton of money to buy a fancy horse to do this sport. Okay. So let me get back to the comments and see if there's any more questions. Okay. Oh, yeah, someone commented a really, really great suggestion. I love this suggestion of watching the Western States 100 for amazing views of the trail. Okay, well, I hope it's not buffering. I hope that this is just a... Okay, it's good. Great. Great, because here's Wash Blakely, I think. Yes. Woo!
Hey guys!
Hey, looking good! Oh, it's good. How's your ride going?
Doing great.
Good, you're looking good.
Feel like $1 million.
Yeah!
Especially the green and wrinkle part.
Oh, that's great. So that was Wash Blakely, and he's riding a half Arab. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but the Blakeleys are, they come to Tevis, I think almost every year, someone from the family, and they're, between them, they have a collection of Hagen and Tevis Cup wins. Woo-woo! Hello! Woo-woo! Okay, so we'll get the 95 and 105. Oh, we have it right here. Okay, Amrita O'Leary on Poet. And...
105. Where's 105?
Yeah, who was that?
Here you go.
Oh, Karen Stillwell. Yeah, duh, of course. Okay, so, yeah, so sorry, that was Karen Stillwell and Amrita O'Leary that just came by.
Wash's horse was Miss Kitty.
Wash's horse was Miss Kitty. Yes. So the Blakeleys, yeah, like I was saying, they usually come to Tevis, and Gabriella, I believe, has won the Tevis Cup. Sonoma has won the Tevis Cup, and Barrick, their son, has won the Hagen Cup. And I can't remember if he was the youngest winner of the Hagen Cup or he had the oldest horse. I think he was the youngest winner and the oldest horse. It was like back in 2016 or 2015, I think. Okay, so here we have probably...
Amrita?
No, this might be Jen. This is Jen, I think. This is Jen! Woo! Looking good, Jen!
Good work.
Woo, woo, woo! Okay, so that's Jen Stalley on her horse Wasco. She's from La Honda, California. And she is the daughter of Chuck. And Jen has a collection of buckles herself. Yeah, Wasco. Yep, good. Okay, good. Sometimes the marble rolls around the brain and hits the right, it like lands in the right spot. You get something right. Not all the time, but sometimes it's rolling around in there. Okay, let's go back to the comments here.
You got a decent pulse of riders.
Yeah, we got a little decent pulse of riders right now. Okay. Yes, Nova. Thank you. I remember Haley's horse's name. Nova. Okay. Oh, I was saying that the great suggestion from earlier is when the Western States Endurance Run is being broadcast. I'm going to say broadcast because it is a highly, what would you call it? Advanced. They got a whole system. They got broadcasters. They got feeds. check out that broadcast, because you'll see large portions of the trail. It's not 100% the same trail, but you'll see a lot of the high country. You'll definitely see the canyons. You'll see the California Loop down to, they cross Rucky Chucky and then it's onto a different trail, but at least down to that point. So that's a really good opportunity to see portions of the trail in the daylight. Okay. So let's take a look at who we're going to expect next here. I don't think I hear any minute. They came out of Michigan Bluff 20 minutes ago, so they might actually already be up in the vet check. So let me see who they might be riding with, who we can expect here. Yeah, Kendall Groth as well. I think they're riding with them. And yeah, there's a good little pulse of riders coming up here. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometime in the next, so 6 riders sometime in the next 5 to 10 minutes here. And then looks like we're gonna have, oh, maybe 8 riders sometime in the next 5 to 10 minutes here. So that's exciting. We have 2 junior riders that are showing out at Michigan Bluff. So not in it, not quite in at Chicken Hawk yet, I don't think. And just as a reminder, I think the Forest Hill, I know the Forest Hill live feed is up and rolling right now. So feel free to hop over to that. Maybe I'll slightly change the angle here so we're staring at something else. Maybe let's stare up the trail. There we go. Look at that beautiful trail. Look at that. It's got to make sure we move it when horses come. Look at that groomed, beautiful trail there. Yeah, temperature's even dropped a bit more. Looks like we got a rider. Okay, I think I see Tierney up there. So we're gonna have our first junior come through here. Okay, okay, I'm gonna move out of the trail. Three of them? Great. Okay, perfect. Maybe 4. We got a good little crew coming down the road here. Okay, let me get, not botch them here. Okay, I need to close that. Or do I need, no, I don't need to close it, sorry. Thanks. Okay, so I think up front here we have some riders from Crater Hill. It looks like 2 juniors from Crater Hill and their sponsor. So Carolyn Lindquist, Tierney Bellabrook, and Kendall Groth. Hey guys!
Good work!
Good, looking good! Woo-woo! Looking good! Yeah, that's the 3 of them. So those, for folks who might be wondering, those are officially our first juniors past this spot right here. So those were our first 2 juniors. And they are all part of the Crater Hill team. Carolyn there was riding Fata Morgana MFH. She's from Sweden, which is very exciting. And it's the Crater Hill team brought a large number of riders between their juniors and their sponsors. It's really great to see that team here every year doing well. Tierney was on a Bay Mare CH Fancy Finesse, aka Finn, and Kendall Groth was on Breadline, aka Ice, a gray 11-year-old Arab. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Sorry, I'm looking at the picture of Kendall and Ice. Oh, he's so cute. A cute horse. Okay, we'll go back to the feed here. Whoops. Here we are. Okay. Someone asked how many started. It was just over 100 riders. Can't remember if it was 103 or 104. I should probably have that off the top of my head, but just over 100 riders. Yeah, so yeah, folks are asking when to expect certain horses and riders. And so one way to try to guesstimate is go to the webcast and see the last time they were out, and then you can kind of look at the distance between the vet checks. Just know that the times between Deadwood out and Michigan Bluff in, they have a big canyon to go down through. So it's going to be, plan for a little bit of time there. Okay. And for those wondering about specific horses, yes, again, go to teviscup.org and click on the webcast. And there's a cool feature if you scroll down, go to the webcast and go scroll down and find your horse and rider. I forgot to mention this earlier. This is actually a really good tip. So go to www.teviscup.org, scroll down to Ride Day links, click on webcast, and find your rider and horse you're interested in. And I think there's a link, if they have a spot tracker, there's a link on their page that shows, the picture of them with the horse and the information about the horse. There's a link there that should take you to, if they have a spot tracker, the spot tracker page with just their tracker. And that might give you a bit more of a closer idea of where they are. It'll certainly show you between Deadwood and Michigan Bluff, it'll show you somewhere they are on the trail, and you can kind of guesstimate from there. Just know that the spot trackers seem to be a little delayed coming, I think, both going down and coming out of the canyons, just because they're against a canyon wall, and at least going down there's tree cover. I don't think there's much tree cover coming out, but this, GPS trackers have a hard time in canyons.
The leaders are about to vet out of Forest Hill in about 10 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, so Brandon just mentioned to me, yeah, the leaders, Sonoma Blakely was in at Forest Hill at 5:17, so they're about to head out of Forest Hill pretty soon. Looks like. Well, this doesn't, I don't want to make assumptions. I'm going to assume they all got through the vet check. But if they all got through the vet check and they're heading out, they're going to be heading out very soon. That's pretty exciting. So, yeah, definitely that Forest Hill vet check live stream is pumping right now. There's a lot of folks in there. Okay, we got another rider coming down here. I think this is Glenn. Yeah, this is Glenn. So Glenn Morgan on Mojave. Having a good ride?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. Looking good. Next stop, Forest Hill.
Yay!
Up and give them another lease on life, and a lot of them end up in with great homes and endurance. And I know Glenn, I believe the story behind Mojave, and I don't know the full story, but I think he was a untouched stallion, I think, when the Love This Horse rescue got him. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the story with that particular horse. So pretty cool, pretty exciting. That goes to our earlier point about you just never know when you get a horse trained up and going what they can do. They might end up here. Okay, so I think, let me just see maybe who we're expecting next. Kristen Canar, she came in with Glenn, and Melissa Montgomery, she was in that group as well. So they'll be right around the corner here. In fact, I can hear a lot of talking in the chicken hawk vet check up there. Okay, so someone asked, got a good couple of questions in here. Forgetting the name of the 24-year-old horse, that was Royal Patron. She's being ridden by Andy Botello today. And Andy is riding with Karen Donnelly, who won the ride on Royal Patron back in 2016. Someone else asked, is this location before or after the chicken hawk vet check? I am down after the chicken hawk vet check, so I'm a little bit down the hill, so we're catching them as they leave Chicken Hawk and head down to Forest Hill. So, you know, when you see them here, particular, like if you see a horse pass here and you want to go see them in Forest Hill, yeah, give it at least, I don't know, 40 minutes at least. You know, tune in over there 40 minutes. You might be waiting another 20. I think Yelena said about an hour. I think that's about right for sure. Someone asked about has AP and Jeep made it through yet? No, we are the last rider through. Yeah, the last rider through was Glenn Morgan, and he's in 23rd. And we still have, yeah, AP and Jeep were out of Deadwood at 4 o'clock, about 2 hours ago. So, yeah, they're coming. They'll be here sometime in the next half hour is my guess.
Leaders take about an hour.
Yeah, yeah. Someone has asked if Alicia's gone by yet. No. If you go to the webcast, so if you scroll down to Tevis Cup and go to the ride day links and go to the webcast, we have seen everybody down to Glenn Morgan, number 20. He's the 23rd rider that's passed us. So we've seen everyone down to Glenn Morgan. We haven't seen Kristen Canar yet. We haven't seen, those are the Melissa Montgomery yet. Those are the next horses that we're anticipating seeing here pass us. Okay. And I'm going to make an aside here because I know there are a lot of AP and Jeep fans watching. Jeep looked so good at Robinson Flat. I really want to make a point and say that. It was like such a pleasure to see. I saw them as they were leaving the Robinson Flat vet check at the out timer, and they kicked right into a trot and trotted right up that hill. Jeep looked so fantastic. So I'm really rooting for that team as well. I'm rooting for everyone, but I know there's a lot of Jeep fans on this live stream right now, and Jeep looked so good at Robinson Flat. He really did. So hoping that we see him come chugging through soon. All right. Let's see. Okay, I think we're caught up on questions here. Someone asked how long does it take to get through the canyon. I think 58. Maybe not. Here. Oh, Carrie. No, I thought Carrie went through the... That might be Carrie. I think she said 58. Okay, we'll see when the horse goes by. Woo woo! Yeah, yeah, yeah! Looking good!
We're famous, Flame! We're
You're famous! You're on the live stream!
Yay!
Yay! Worldwide
Having a
fans!
great time!
Having a great time!
Forest Hill first!
Forest Hill! Then to Auburn! Love it. I think we got some more outriders up here. Oh, don't trip and fall down. Yeah.
Doing all right. We are live broadcasting this very minute.
Sorry, just a minute. We're taking a quick call. We have some horses, I think, up in the vet check ready to come down.
No, we're all good. Yeah, we got all of that. Thank you. If you want to tune in. That wouldn't have been us, but yeah. All right. Talk to you later.
Was he asking about the fire?
I was asking about how we need.
Never mind. Okay, cool, cool. Perfect. Okay. Oh yeah, someone was asking about Johnny Jewel out of Texas. Let me see if I can just pop onto the webcast real quick and see if I can see where Johnny is and where we can expect her. For those who don't know, she's out of Texas and is riding her gelding Hondo. She participates a lot in NATRC rides. It's always really fun to see her here. She's an excellent horsewoman. Woo-woo! Hey, you guys having a good ride?
Yeah!
Excellent.
Really beautiful day.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Thanks for being out
Of
here.
course. Have a great rest of your ride.
Thank you.
So that was Melissa Montgomery, and she's riding with, let me see. I believe that's Kristen, or it might be Carmen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the rider who was with Melissa. If anyone in the chat knows who that was, I think it was Kristen. I couldn't read the number. Okay. Yeah, can't remember. Couldn't see the number. Okay, so let's see. Oh, we got another good group of riders coming in soon. It looks like we should be expecting some folks pretty soon here. Let me continue my thought on, whoops, on Johnny here, see if I can see her. Okay, so Johnny Jewel was showing out at Deadwood at 4:51, so 5 o'clock. So she's going to be a little bit until she gets here. It's going to be a little bit of time. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we should get, okay, we got Scott's out at El Dorado Creek. Okay, yeah, so we'll have something about something like 5 riders through here in the next 15 minutes, I think. I'm looking at this right. One of those riders, kind of a fun story, and I'm sure folks have been mentioning it on the live feed, but rider number 62, Shanti Curtin of Placerville, and it looks like they last were out of Michigan Bluff at 6 o'clock. So we should be expecting them into Chicken Hawk in the next 10 minutes, I think. Depends on how fast they're going. They're probably walking. I'm assuming that folks from this point on are mostly walking that stretch from Michigan Bluff to Chicken Hawk. So it might be more like 20-30 minutes before we see, well, certainly 30 minutes till we see them here, because they are, they got to get through the vet check. Okay. Let me go look up the mosquito. I'm gonna go look at the time cutoffs in a minute here. Oh, yep, and someone put in the chat that Johnny has completed 5 times. Yep. And I think someone correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny's horse Hondo, I know he's completed at least once, maybe twice. I think she's had him here a couple times. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Hondo's got a couple of Tevis completions himself. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me look up the time cutoff here at Chicken Hawk. I'm gonna have my it would be, let's see. Yep. Hear folks up in the vet check. Oh, you know what I also wanted to mention? Okay, let's go answer that question first. Okay, yeah, let's go to Chicken Hawk. Does it say? No.
Check something.
Well, while we're looking up the time cutoff at Chicken Hawk, I wanted to mention that I'd spoken earlier about looking at ride photos to take a look at tack, and now that I'm saying this, I'm realizing that I haven't said a single thing about saddles and footwear for any horse that's passed since I said I would. See, the marble's rolling around and it's not hitting the right spot. But I know I was talking earlier about photos and looking through photos and seeing what different things folks are wearing and what they're doing on their horses. And there's a Flickr account that has photos uploaded to it by the Tevis volunteers. That is a super cool resource to go in there and look at photos from the ride. So I know I said that there's some official ride photos that get released. Those are good because they're like super high quality and you can zoom in. You know, they'll have watermark, a lot of them, but the Flickr account has photos from Tevis volunteers. I haven't looked at it. Maybe we'll take a look in a minute here and see if there are any up, but that's a great resource. So I think it's 7:45 p.m. in at Chicken Hawk this year. 7:45 p.m. in. Yeah, I think that makes sense. 7:45 p.m. in. We're doing like a secondary source here. So yeah, folks still have about an hour and 15 minutes to come on in. So it's not, the time constraint isn't I think on the out, it's on the in. So someone was talking about Brian Riom and his mule Hondo, who helped 2 riders in the canyons. I can actually speak to that story a little bit because I was on the ride that year, and I was riding right behind Brian when that happened, and we were one of the situations was a woman had fallen off her horse and was kind of on the side of the trail, and her horse was totally fine. I think he had tripped. I don't quite remember how she had parted ways with her horse, but this was in the second canyon, the one between Deadwood and Michigan Bluff. And she was kind of trying to scrabble up the side of the trail, and it was like the part of the trail where it's kind of a bit of a scrabbly, a scrabbly side. Let me get this rider going through, and then I think this is Shanti. I think I got her name right. Woo! Looking good.
Way to go.
No, that's a chestnut. That's a chestnut. That's not her horse. Who would that have been? It might have been Carmen. Go to Carmen. Might have been Carmen. Sorry, I didn't catch who that was. We're trying to look it up now. Anyway, so we were in a long line of horses, and it's really, just Brian immediately was like, got off his mule, tied his mule to a tree, looked back and said, I got this, told the woman, I got you, and he put her on his mule and walked her all the way down to the bottom of the canyon and all the way back out. And I don't remember exactly the details of the second rider that he helped, but I think it was down at the bottom of that next canyon. Anyway, it was a great year. I remember we were on the road from Francisco's to Lower Quarry, and I'm a back of the pack rider. The group I was with was like really stressed out about the time, and I remember thinking like, oh my goodness, because I knew Brian had like walked that lady out on Hondo, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how Brian was going to make up that time and make it here, and gosh darn it, he came like cantering right by us on that big wide road, and Hondo was just like pulling him to Auburn, and he was going to have no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was a pretty fun moment. And I don't think Brian actually ended up needing the extra time at the end. He finished at 5:15, and my recollection was that I think Ride Management gave him a little extra time coming into Forest Hill, but he had a 5:15 cutoff. And he made it. That was a excellent job, well done. Hondo's such an impressive mule. They were such an impressive team. I'd expect next here. Okay, sorry, I'm just catching up on comments. I love all the mule comments. I really do. I wish Abigail were here, one of our team members on the live feed, date right, and if here. Huh? No, and we had Shane and Ticket have not come through yet. We have not, just because I know folks are following certain people and seeing them in the feeds. Shane and the mule have not come through yet. AP and Jeep have not come through yet. And if you want more information on where they are, go to the webcast. That's going to give you the most up to date. Okay, so I think I hear some folks up in the vet check here. Yeah, thanks for sticking with us on this live feed. I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little dubious about coming to Chicken Hawk and doing a live stream for hours here because my memory of Chicken Hawk is that it is, it's at the end of the canyons, and it's usually at the hot part of the day, and I'm always stressed on time because I'm a back of the pack rider, and I just want to get to Forest Hill and get the horse a nice break, and I have like, the Forest Hill vet check is so close, and it's right there, and I'm gonna see my crew, and so Chicken Hawk is something I usually just like want to get through. And I gotta tell you, coming up here and spending this afternoon up here in the beautiful trees, it's so beautiful up here. I'm really thankful for the opportunity to share this beautiful spot on the trail with you all. And gosh, the temperature is just downright pleasant right now. Of course we're in the afternoon, but even earlier on it was really nice here in the trees. And yeah, it's just been a pleasure covering this location, and it's just been real fun seeing the horses come down the trail here. Okay, yeah, and so someone had said Sonoma's out of the front runners, I think they're starting to leave Forest Hill right now. So, oh yeah, and thank you. A commenter had put in the comments here, this is the last spot where you're going to be able to see horses go by on the trail. After, Forest Hill is really exciting, like I keep saying, but after that the trail gets really dark. And so we were taking video on the cow loop last year. Oh, sorry, I'm like walking away. We were taking video on the cow loop last year, and we wanted to try this location. I know Lucy was a little down further last year, so we're trying out some different locations. After the ride, I know that this live stream team is always trying to brainstorm ways of improving this every year. And so one piece of feedback that we would really love from folks who love watching the live stream is just feedback on the locations. What locations were really fun to watch? Which locations did you find yourself being like, okay. I know that, like, for some people vet checks are really fun because there's a lot going on, and right now we're just looking at a trail and hearing me talk. But some people like watching the horses trot down the trail. So yeah, if there's, and also really, really, really helpful, if you have ridden this ride and you have an idea of a location that we could get to, or a particular spot on the trail that you think would really showcase the ride and showcase the horses. Like, one thing I would love to find is a place on trail where you can really watch them for a long time. And we've kind of been trying to brainstorm, like, okay, where can we get them on some switchbacks? Or and it's really, I love watching them trot, which is why I kind of picked this spot, because you just get to see a good view of how they move, and that's really fun for me. Anyway, long story short, you can email the ride and just say tips for the live stream, for the live streamers, and we'll take any feedback that you have. Also, another thing we were talking about, I know that, there's, today in particular, I covered Highway 89. Abigail was up at High Camp. Lucy was at Elephant's Trunk. Kristen was at Robinson Flat. Lucy's at Deadwood. I'm here at Chicken Hawk, and Kristen's at Forest Hill. And I would imagine that if you've been watching all the live streams today, you're probably hearing the same information over and over and over again. You know, there's only so many times that each live streamer can tell you the same fact about a horse. And I know some people are tuning in for the first time, and there's just some facts that are so fun to share. But one thing that we were talking about was like, you know, maybe there's different things that we talk about in addition to talking about the horses and the riders that are entered that year. But, you know, what things about Tevis are you most interested in hearing about? We hear you on like what shoes and tack and, you know, what are people riding in? That is such a good suggestion. Are people interested in the history of Tevis? Are people interested in hearing ride stories from past years? Are people interested in, you know, hearing more about how the ride is run or who's on the board? I mean, there's so many things that you can talk about this ride. And, you know, maybe one approach is that to kind of avoid each person repeating the same kind of information that you can find on the webcast. Maybe there's some more, I don't know, detailed or interesting information that we can pull together beforehand, you know, and read some more of the history on the Tevis Cup and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I also really like Lucy has the best stories, and I was like tuning into some of her, particularly when she was at Elephant Trunk. I'll listen to Lucy all day with some of the ride stories. So we'll try to remember that and try to pepper in some fun ride stories where we can. You know, there's certainly those among us who have some really great stories. Yeah, someone said the other stream was talking about tack, helmets, etc. Yeah, definitely. That's always a good topic. So, one thing I wanted to mention before I forget was if you're interested in coming out sometime to this ride, there are many opportunities for you to kind of interact and get to know this ride however you want. If you're interested in just coming to spectate one year, I know I've said this, I'm going to repeat myself, but I can't highly recommend enough going to Forest Hill. There's parking, it's easy to get to, you're there during the cool evening, and there's just so much to look at. And I mean, if you all love horses as much as I will just sit and I could sit and watch horses all day. It's just such a fun place to do that, and see the crews and just see how the ride works at a well-oiled machine rest stop like that. So come to Forest Hill and watch, and then drive down to Auburn, and go to either the timed finish up at the Auburn Overlook, or go to the fairgrounds, sit in the stadium and watch the victory laps for a while. And then if you want to make a weekend of it, watch Hagen Cup the next day and come to the awards ceremony. When I was a kid, I got brought up here and watched the Tevis Cup. I don't know, I can't remember how old I was, and I was like hooked for life, just from coming up that one time and watching it at those locations. If you want to get a little bit more involved, they are always looking for volunteers. You know, one thing I would recommend is just spend some time. If you want to volunteer at the ride, spend some time on the ride's website and read a little bit about the different stops and think about where might be a fun place for you to go volunteer. Volunteering is really fun because you get to interact with the riders and the horses in just a really positive way, especially if you're at those vet checks where the riders don't have crew. The volunteers at this ride are so amazing, and my experience has been they seem like, as a volunteer, you have a lot of fun helping riders hold their horse while they run to the bathroom, or give their horse some watermelon, or help sponge their horse to cool them off at a vet check, and it's a really rewarding experience. So if you're interested in volunteering at the Tevis Cup, I think there's a form on the webpage that you can click on, and it'll give you some more information. And like I said, they're always looking for volunteers, and it's a pretty fun way to get to know the ride. Another fun way to get to know the ride is to crew for somebody. And I know that this is a little bit of like, well, what if I don't know anybody riding Tevis? How do I get involved in crewing? A lot of times if you just put it out on the AERC Facebook page or one of the Tevis Facebook pages that you're interested in crewing, you might find someone that's looking for crew. And boy, what a really fun way to get to know the ride. I crewed in 2015. Oh, I loved it. It was so fun. I learned so much, and it's a long day. You know, it's a long day. You're there for the rider and the horse, and hopefully they finish. And that means if you're with kind of a mid-pack rider, you're up till 5 a.m. and even beyond taking care of the horse, and you're up at you know, you're up doing it. But it's really cool to be a part of the magic. So yeah, there's kind of 3 ways to get involved if you want to come here in person. The 4th way is to bring your horse and enter next year. There is a mileage requirement for riders that want to enter the Tevis Cup. They have to have 300 miles of 50-mile rides or more. And I think, I believe it's AERC miles qualify, CTR and NATRC miles qualify. There's a whole a bunch of information on it on the Tevis Cup webpage. Personally, if I was gonna, you know, take on the ride, I'd want to do a bit more miles than 300 just to like shake out all the bugs. But I mean, that is like, you know, everyone is coming from a different place of horse experience, and someone who's been riding across the country, for example, might not need any more than 300 miles. It's just really, yeah, really down to the individual person. A very wise endurance rider whom I really respect told me that to have the best shot at Tevis, go in with at least 1,000 endurance miles with your horse. Maybe, you know, some might think that's too much, but like to have the best shot and to come in and be like, feel really confident, and make sure you have the speed to top 10 of 50. You know, there's just kind of all these old adages. And again, those are not like, you can come do this ride and be successful with just your 300 miles and never having top 10 just as easy. But you know, just to kind of share the range of pieces of advice that I've heard from folks over the years. You know, it's a ride with a 50% completion rate. So it sounds like we have, and by the way, I just want to end that little, like, you can do this ride. I can't say that enough. You sitting at home, if you've never done Tevis and you're thinking about doing Tevis, you can do this ride. I was sitting at home thinking about doing Tevis, didn't think I could do this ride. I could do this ride. You can too. And your horse can do it. So, let's see. Yeah, we got a bunch of horses up there. I'm going to try to take a look at who it might be here. I think it's a group. Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, give me a second to get my stuff in order. Oh, yes, and someone mentioned the educational ride. While we're waiting, I want to make sure I talk about the ed ride, because I've mentioned it before with relation to the Chicken Hawk vet check here. But I haven't really talked about it, but I want to take a break. I'm going to talk about it in a minute, because I think we have the next group of, we at least have one rider coming down the pipe here. And I think this rider is, Yeah, I think this is Shanti Curtin. Yes, this is Shanti right here. I see her vest. Hi. Woo woo.
All right, Shizzy.
Woo woo woo.
3-hour break. Come on, big boy. Yeah, I promise you can eat all of the food there.
All the food.
All of the food.
Looking good.
Oh yeah.
Not pulling off and waiting for another horse.
Okay, we got another group. So that was Shanti Curtin. And now it looks like we have, I'll get them as they go by. Don't have them right now. Hey, looking good. That's Lindsay Fisher. Woo woo woo.
17. Lindsay Fisher and Travis Underwood.
Okay, great. Perfect. Yes, so that was Lindsay Fisher and Travis Underwood that just came by. And just to give folks an idea, they are in 29th and 30th. 29th and 30th. So yeah, let me look at this feed here because I think we might have some riders that folks have been asking about coming in. And I keep forgetting to look at the shoes in the saddle. Standard. I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna say, I think that's gonna be tough for me. They're trotting along. I'm trying to hold the camera steady. I'll give myself a little grace for that. Somebody please ask Kristen to talk about the shoes and the saddles when they get to. I think Kristen's got it handled. Kristen's got some good live feed banter, so she'll cover it. Okay. So, or no, that was Frank Crum, wasn't it? Oh no, Travis Underwood. Okay, Frank's still up in the vet check, I think. So Frank's up there. Vanessa Erickson. Fun fact about Vanessa Erickson: she was part of the Crater Hill crew that went to the FEI World Junior Championships this past year with both, I think, the Bella Burke siblings as well. Pretty cool. We also have we have a bunch of folks up at Chicken Hawk right now. So we have, sorry, I gotta scroll down. Marion oh my god, I'm gonna butcher her. Marion, I'm gonna butcher your last name.
Marion.
Le Borgne. She's French. Sorry, Marion. She's riding, I think she's riding one of the Crater Hill horses. She's riding with Ryan Ellis, one of our other juniors. I think our third junior that we're seeing. We also have Chelsea Arnold is in. This is fun. She's riding Westwind Dragon, who's a Arab Appy cross. And I believe Dragon has finished this ride at least once, maybe twice. Dragon's been around for a while. He's owned by Sherry Wiest. And I think, see if it says how many times he's... Anyway, Dragon's, I think, finished this ride before. Also into Chicken Hawk, we have Krista Turnage. Those who follow the live feed will certainly recognize Krista's voice. She is usually doing the live feed at Forest Hill and Robinson Flat. And she's riding her Arab cross horse Stretch. He's just about, I think, the leggiest horse that is entered this year. He's a cool horse. And I think that's all who we're waiting for to leave Michigan Bluff Chicken Hawk right now. But we have a ton of riders out of Michigan Bluff who will be here. We're going to have a very exciting pulse of riders here very shortly. We're going to get the main crew come in here.
Just under an hour left to time in. So
yeah.
Like preview of the buckle hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, yeah. So, I'm hearing people coming in all the time. Sorry, I'm just taking a moment to get my bearings on who we're going to expect here. This is Christoph coming down Christoph Schork on VA Blizzard of Oz, aka Ozzy. Legendary team here. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Christoph! Woo-hoo! I'm sure every live caster says this, but Christoph is the winningest rider in the AERC and has been a Tevis competitor for years. I know there's a factoid about Ozzy and Tevis that I don't want to butcher by guessing. Let me see if this tells me. Frank Christoph. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, webcast. So that's right. Christoph is going for his 10th buckle right now. That's really exciting. And Ozzy is going for his 3rd Tevis completion. And I think Ozzy's been in the top 10 before. And oh, that's duh. Christoph and Ozzy were winners of the Hagen Cup. I see. I knew there was that. Okay. I think those are just volunteers coming in. Okay. All right. Oh, yes, thank you. The Ed Ride. Boots and tack, yep. Okay, and we got some more riders coming in. Deadline for Chicken Hawk is 7:45. I'll get back to some of your questions in a minute. Let me get these riders here. Looking good, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great ride.
Thank you.
Next stop, Forest Hill. So the rider in front was Alicia Zabaska. She lives in Texas, but she also rides internationally for Lithuania. And I think the rider in the back, we're going to get him in a minute. We got a Crater Hill group here with our 3rd junior rider. Looking good.
Yeah.
Woo-woo! That's Ryan Ellis.
There you go.
Yeah! Okay, and that was, here's Dragon, the Appy.
That was Marion.
Marion. And who was the last rider there? Was that Marion?
Yeah, number 22.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. Got a good crew. Yay! Jen and Alex looking good.
Good work.
Woo-woo! So that's Jennifer Niehaus in front on the gray and Alex Niehaus behind her. That's a mother and daughter team. They're based out of Cloverdale, California, although Alex is in college right now. And Alex is the 3rd generation of Tevis Cup rider. Jennifer's mother and father are Dennis and Joyce Souza. Joyce had a perfect 10 equine and just have been stalwarts of the sport for decades. And Jennifer Niehaus has managed the Lake Sonoma ride. I know Lucy was talking about that, but it bears mentioning. They're a great endurance family and great local NorCal endurance riders. Hello, looking good. Next stop, Forest Hill.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. I think that was, that's Frank Crum there. Yep, that's Frank Crum and Thunder. Okay, let me answer a couple questions and then maybe I'll get to the Ed ride. We got a little bit of a lull, but it's heating up. We're getting some riders come through here, which is very exciting. Okay, so yes, someone asked, am I streaming from after the gate and go? Yes, I am. I'm a little bit down the trail from Chicken Hawk, from the out timer at Chicken Hawk. And okay. Sorry, I'm just making sure I answer all the questions that we have. For folks talking about the cutoff, yeah, so cutoff here in is 7:45. So we're still 45 minutes. We still got 45 minutes. I know it's I know, like, I've been there waiting for riders. I've been there myself riding cutoffs. I just want to set expectations that for a lot of riders, Tevis is riding the cutoffs. So if you're starting to get worried, like for a lot of riders, especially riders like me, riding this ride is riding the cutoffs, and it can be done. It's a little stressful for everyone involved, but being really close to the cutoff at this location, there is still a really good chance that as long as the horse vets through the rest of the vet checks, it's totally possible to make the time down at the finish at the end. In fact, so if someone is riding the cutoffs here, they might end up doing better after Forest Hill, because you can move out on good parts of the trail after Forest Hill and make up some time. So just setting expectations that just because someone is close to a cutoff, it's not the end of their ride. A lot of riders ride the cutoffs. This is a really, you have to be really good at time management on this ride. And it's just, for me, it's an expected thing to be pretty close to the cutoffs every time I do it. So just wanted to put that out there. Let's see. A couple more questions here. Alicia and Brandon made it through. Yes, thank you. Brandon was the other rider with her. Thank you. Someone said those Arabs just float when they trot, don't they? That's why I love this location. I love this location right now because we just have such a beautiful view of watching these. God, these are just amazing athletes, and watching them just float on by. It's a really fun place to see them. Okay. Got some more coming. Okay. And folks, I will absolutely, when AP and Jeepers come by, I will let them know that they have a huge fan base watching, and I promise to stay here and catch them coming through. Okay, so we're getting a buzz. That was a really cute little horse. Emily Hart. And what's her horse's name?
Finn.
Finn. Oh, he was so cute. Okay. Looks like we got Christine Hartman here on on Naughty Gray Linda. Look.
Oh, hi.
Hey, you're looking super good. Oh my goodness.
Going for my 10 bucks.
Heck yeah. Next stop, Auburn.
Nice when the riders provide the factoids.
I know. I love Christine. She's such a hoot. She's so fun. That's a nice looking horse. Fun fact, I tried to buy that horse and she swooped me. And I'm feeling massive pangs of like, I covet that horse as it just flew down the trail looking like it hasn't done anything. That was that was a race bred horse that I think was for sale up in Oregon. I can't remember if she was off the track or if she came from a breeder, but yeah. Anyway, I'm getting pangs of jealousy right now. That horse looked great. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm really glad. I'm really happy for Christine. Of course. So coming down the trail here, I think we can see his orange shirt is Hal Hall and direct. Going to tie the record. Tie Barbara White's 34 buckle record. Hal has started this ride 42 times. Yay, Hal!
Hi.
Looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful horse. The fun fact for Hal is that Hal gets to ride home. Hal lives like right on Roby Point. So he's actually right, I think he's right on the route. And so every time he does the Tevis Cup, he just gets to ride home. I remember one time he ended the ride and then just like, I think he just walked his horse home from the fairgrounds. I think he lives like less than a half a mile from the fairgrounds, which is really fun. So it's cool. His horse is like homeward bound. It's a good place to be. So we have a big crew of riders coming through here. There's a question in the signal about if we're still live here. Make sure we
responded.
Okay, yeah, make sure we stay live because we got a lot of horses coming through. And people might have a mutiny if we don't catch AP and Jeep.
Hello!
Hello!
Dinner's this way!
Dinner's that
Dinner's
way.
that way. Dinner's that.
Love you, Madeline and Lilia!
Yay!
My nieces are watching!
Yay! I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, their names are on the tip of my tongue. I will
Number 76.
I will know them when I see them on the feed here. Sorry. 6. Okay, wait. Where are we here?
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Right. Okay, bear with me here. Bluff out. No, it would have been one of the chicken hawks.
It's hard to say that there are some that still say Michigan Bluff out.
Oh, some of the people that have come through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we're all screwed up.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're a little bit slow to update. I wonder if one of them was Monica. Ugh, gosh, it's hard. It's hard to see people as they go by real fast. Let's see. Oh, Leah hasn't come through. Isabel, maybe? Nope. Yes, Emily Hansen. Yay! Gotcha, Emily. Emily Hansen, Placerville, California. Riding Sax Dreamtone Alto. And I don't think that was Jenny. Anyway, if anyone recognized who was riding with Emily, feel free to put that person in the live feed. We're doing the best we can here. Someone asked, how are you guys doing surviving the heat? It is so nice right now. It's like, it might even be low 80s by now. It is so nice out here. We're in a really good spot. We got trees. As you can see, like the horses are really feeling the nice cool temps. They're all looking perky and on their way to Forest Hill for that hour rest. So yeah, it's not hot here. Of course, we're not in the sun right now. We're not in the canyons right now. We're up on Chicken Hawk, is kind of on a ridge, but it's very nice. Okay, so we have some more horses coming. Okay. Okay, got another horse coming. All right. Oh, this looks like a cutie. Hello. How's it going? Is that Monica?
Yes.
Hi, Monica. It's Brenna.
Oh my gosh, but it's been ages.
It's been so long.
Good to see you.
You too. Your horse looks really good.
Thank you.
Are you having a good ride?
Yeah,
Good. Good. Good.
that is pulling off.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Have a great rest of your ride. So that was Monica Bennett from Templeton, California. Back in 2015, for those familiar with the XP rides put on by Dave Nicholson, aka the Duck, and Annie Nicholson, aka the Saint, they used to do these long rides on the Pony Express Trail from St. Joseph, Missouri to Carson City, Nevada. 2015 was the last year they did that, and there were a number of horses and riders that did it that year, and they rode AERC miles every day, and there were some rest days like every 2 or 3 days. Anyway, I crewed on that ride. Monica was riding on that ride, and so yeah, that was an epic time. Okay, so here we have some of the riders from Intergalactic Equine. These horses are owned by Stevie Delahunt. She lives up in Bend, Oregon, and she's in front there on her Arab Standardbred, Alexander Hamilton. Looking good, team.
Hey.
Woo-woo!
Thanks, guys.
Have a great ride. Woo-woo!
Hello.
Hello.
Here.
Looking good. I think that was 7. That's Audra and 7. Someone was asking about 7. There's 7. He's a Mustang. Yep, looking good. Stevie's had a couple of great years at this ride. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. And she leases out horses, by the way, if you're interested in riding this ride and you don't you just kind of want to lease a horse and show up. My advice is to go through one of the reputable riders that lease horses consistently, and so you'll know you'll have a good, fit, safe horse that's well suited to the task, and it'll end up, I think it ends up costing, I think, between $5,000 and $10,000, I think is the going rate to lease a Tevis horse. But anyway, long story short, Stevie does leasing Tevis horses. Usually the Reynolds lease a couple horses every year. I don't know, I think Crater Hill, Sam Ellis, that group might lease some horses every year. So just keep in the back of your mind, if you have some folding money you want to spend on doing this ride on a really nice horse. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, getting a horse ready for this with the rides probably comes out to about that much money between going to the rides and supplements and all that stuff. So here's Leah Davy. This is a Rocky Mountain Lucy. Looking good, Leah.
Good.
Woo, woo, woo. Looking good. and that's Astro. He's a Mustang. That's Lee Scribner on Astro, and Leah Davey riding Lucia Rocky.
Hey.
Looking good, you guys. That's Andrew Gerhardt on Chondo, and Jenny Gomez. Jenny, I'm sorry, we'll have to get your horse's name in a minute here. So I think Leah and Lucy are the first gaited horses I've seen come through here. We've seen Astro, I think, was the second. I think 7 was the first Mustang we had come through here. We haven't seen the mule yet. Trying to remember. Yeah, we've had 2 Mustangs, a Rocky Mountain, an Arab Appy, a couple of Arab crosses, and a whole lot of beautiful Arabians come through. I'm going through the comments just seeing if I can answer any more questions here. Yeah, people were commenting on Lucy and Astro. They both looked great. And I think Astro's definitely finished Tevis before. But I think Matt Scribner rode Astro. I think Matt rode Astro. And then Leah has finished on Lucy at least once, maybe twice. So they are also coming for another completion together. And Leah has finished Tevis on one of Dean Moon's Rockies, Jackson, back in, I think, 2018 or 2019, one of those years. So yeah, Leah has a couple different finishes on Rockies. I have to say, by the way, that Lucy, her Rocky, I covet that horse too. I think I covet all these horses. Gigi is Jenny's mare. Thank you. Okay. Astro, he's finished twice. Thank you. And I think both finishes were with Matt Scribner. I think he let Matt's not riding this year. So someone asked, as a Tevis finisher, oh, that's a good suggestion. One of the previous camera holders would say to the riders, say your name and number as you pass by. I could try doing that. I don't, a lot of people yelling at them to say their name and number as they pass. I think that's a good suggestion. So someone had asked, what a great question. As a Tevis finisher, how do you handle the night part? Did you let your horse do the work? This is a great time to talk about that because we are heading into the evening here, and every rider from this point out is going to be starting Forest Hill as leaving Forest Hill, starting the California Loop as the night is setting in. And a lot of people have a lot of different approaches to the dark part of the California Loop. When I did it, I always did that part on horses that I really trusted, and I spent some time before the ride doing night rides with them and taking them out on trails that they knew when the moon wasn't full, and making sure that we trusted each other in the dark. But I do know people that come do this ride and they've never ridden their horse in the dark before, and they do just fine. So what I did as a rider is I put glow bars on my horse's breast collar, because the glow bars are kind of below their, if their head's out in front of them, it's below their sight of vision. So I can kind of see where the trail is if I need to get off or dismount quickly. But that was really it. I didn't ride with a headlamp. The two different horses that I rode that section on, I trusted both of them just completely implicitly. They were super, super sure-footed, trustworthy, seasoned horses, and they were both mares were one of them just very self-confident and assured, and I just put my trust in them, and let go of the reins and we flew down the California Loop, and it was very thrilling. Some people will ride with headlamps because they feel more comfortable doing that. You know, the thing with that is if you're asked to turn your headlamp off, you know, you have to turn your headlamp off so you're not blinding other people, and then it takes you a little bit to adjust your eyes. One big tip that helped was if you want to ride, lamps don't affect your vision as much, and they don't affect the horse's vision as much. And so in 2017, when I did the ride, I was riding with a group, and one of the riders had a red headlamp, and we would use it for like, hey, I need to get off real quick, or, you know, getting off and checking a cinch at the water trough. You know, there's some water troughs at the Cal 2 spot there. So it's a good idea to bring a headlamp in case something happens. Use it on red. That's my tip for that. And a lot of people just throw on glow bars and go. So, and yeah, and the ride is timed. For folks that don't know, the ride is timed to the full moon. So in theory, although this year the moon is rising a bit late, but in theory, you'll have some ambient moonlight, especially on parts of the trail that are exposed. And I gotta say, once you're past Francisco's, you know, because there are some cliffs, there's some drop-offs on that part of Cal 2, but once you're past the Francisco's, you're rolling, and you're just like going for it at that point. So there's a couple more riders here. One of them is Johnny Jewel and Hondo. And the other rider, let's see if we can figure out the other rider. Should be riding with you.
Hey, hi Grayson, hi KK, hi my horse girls, hi Cody.
Yay!
Hi Gypsy.
We'll see you guys in Auburn. Woo! Okay, so rider 114. That was Indeed. I think that was
not Terry Zielinski.
not Terry. I'm sorry. I thought you were maybe 112. Was that Lauren? No, she was riding a gray. Was it 110?
Might have been 110.
Yeah. Let's see if we can figure this out. I think that was Scarlet.
Had to be.
I think that was Scarlet.
Looks like she timed into Michigan Bluff at the same time.
Okay, great.
And they were 2 minutes ahead.
Okay. All right. So we're getting we're showing a bunch of riders should be coming into this vet check right now. So stay tuned here. We're gonna have some more folks coming through.
25 more minutes to vet in.
And I know we're getting close to the cutoff time, but just remember that a lot of people ride the cutoff times. That's just an expected part of Tevis. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Yes, and Yelena had mentioned Andrew Gerhardt as another person who's gone out of his way to help riders in trouble. Yeah, he's helped with the junior riders at Crater Hill. Yeah, thanks for mentioning him, Yelena. Great guy all around, and always happy to see him here. So we got another Mustang coming in here. Oh, I love this horse. He's so cute. Hello! Looking good.
Yeah. Oh, that way.
What a beautiful horse. Love them stangs. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to jiggle that. Okay, and that horse was, it was 65. Well, we'll be able to see them. I feel like I should know this. That's a very, unique, beautiful horse. Gosh, I have to scroll down every time. Boy, yeah, we're like, yeah, I think that is Katie, maybe. Wow, this like keeps updating weird. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to get that rider. I apologize. I feel like that. I think that's Katie De Jong or De Jong. I'm sorry, Katie, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Out of Hanford, California, with Tonka. Tonka is obviously a Mustang. Bayron, 12 years old, 13.3. Very, very cool team. So, yep, that's been 3 Mustangs that I've counted. We've had Astro, we've had 7, and now we've had Tonka. Yeah, riding the cutoffs, like I said before, it is stressful. It's stressful for the rider, it's stressful for the crew, it's stressful for people watching, but take it from somebody who has ridden cutoffs. Like the year that I finished, I was like at this vet check, I think I was like within 5 minutes of the cutoff. Just know, like at this vet check, I was within 5 minutes of the cutoff, and I rode the cutoffs the whole way, but I came in under 5:15. So like I said, you do pick up time after Forest Hill, especially, and I know folks are worried particularly about Jeep right now. I think Jeep, I don't think Jeep's that far behind, actually. We can't see into the vet check right now, but especially with kind of like bigger bodied horses, that might be harder to cool. Like I rode gated horses, so I'm just speaking from that experience. You ride a little bit slower in the canyons due to the heat, and then they totally pick up after Forest Hill, and you can make up a lot of time. And I'll say again, Jeep looked really good at Robinson Flat. Okay, yeah, thanks for everyone for calling out Tonka in the comments. Tonka is so cute. I can't believe I didn't, like, that didn't pop into my brain. He's so cute. Someone asked, do you know which HMA the Mustangs are from? I'm sorry, I don't. I usually have more information on the Mustangs because I love Mustangs. So if anybody knows what HMA 7 is from, where Astro is from, and where Tonka is from, that would be really fun to know. So just drop it in the comments. Maybe someone has said it already. I may be trying to scroll up here, but yeah, if you know which herd management area those Mustangs are from, let me know. So we got 3 horses up there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, someone asked, was that Jenny Gomez with Johnny? Jenny had trotted by with, I think she was with Andrew Gerhardt, so she already went by. Triple B, I think someone said. Astro is out of Nevada. Came through the Carson City prison program. Thank you. That's really cool to know. Okay, let me confirm here. So it looks like we're showing... We're starting to get mosquitoes here. Are they at the out timer? Oh, we have exciting news. Shane Lesher and Ticket are coming down the trail right now. I know folks have been waiting for the mule. Here be the mule. Here's Shane and Ticket. Ticket is, like I was saying before, going for her 5th Tevis Cup completion here. Yeah, yeah, yeah! Looking good! Woo woo! Just trucking along. Okay, we got 2 more riders here. Oh gosh, I'm gonna try to get their numbers. They're dark horses here. Woo woo woo! Call out your number and name. Number and name.
Lauren Nancy 112.
Yay!
McKenna Jensen 81.
Yay! See you guys in Auburn. All right. Couple more riders through there. Someone said another stang. Good. So yeah, that makes sense. That one of those horses that just went by was a Mustang. I'll have to spend a minute and go take a look at them. Thanks folks for putting in the comments and helping me out here. I'm really glad that people who know these riders and horses are giving us some information. 112 was a Mustang. Yay, another Mustang. Bo and Rania. 2 more. Love seeing the Mustangs do well. They looked great. Yeah, it was fun to see Ticket too. So someone was asking earlier what the horse side of Ticket is, and I believe her horse side is thoroughbred. I believe it's thoroughbred. Sorry, I'm away from the camera. A lot of the mules that have come through Tevis have had their horse side be thoroughbred. I think it's a pretty good cross. And I know that the UC Davis breeding program, they have UC Davis Action Jackson. He's the jack they had at stud there. They were breeding him to a lot of thoroughbred mules. So I think that's where, I'm not sure if that's where Ticket came from. She doesn't have a UCD's something in her name. But I know that Abigail Madden, the mule rider I was talking about earlier on our live feed team, she's gotten a couple of mules out of that jack, and like half thoroughbred mules, and she really likes that cross. Seems like a good cross to me. I mean, it's proof's in the pudding, as they say. Okay, someone was asking, when does this feed stop? Oh, great. Yay. Thank you, Tevis Cup Ride Fairies, for putting this in the chat. So Astro is from the Nevada range. Bo is from NWHR. I don't know what NWHR. Cody is from Delamar. Raina is from the Triple B. 7 is from Triple B. Tonka's from Triple B. Wow, 3 Triple B Stangs here. And Rowdy's from Yakima. And we haven't seen Rowdy yet. Rowdy's with another rider, junior rider, Roriana. I know we were talking about Brian Riom's mule Hondo. I think Hondo was out of a quarter horse mare. Okay. I'm just going to walk up the trail here. The suspense is killing me. See if we can see anyone at that out timer. Don't see anyone yet. Nevada Wild Horse Range. Thank you. Nevada Wild Horse Range. That's where Bo came from. So I'm hearing lots of commotion up there. We're gonna expect some riders any time now. Someone's coming down on a gray? Okay. Great, let me go back. Let's see the side of the trail. So someone had asked how long this feed is going for. We'll try going as long as we can here. Our technology is, as long as we have battery, I'll put it that way. We'll try to get the main slug of people here. I will say that if we have to cut out early for whatever reason, like my battery's down at 14% and my other battery is struggling, if we have to cut out, the Forest Hill Vet Check is going till the last rider. This team here, we got to go down and try to catch front runners on down. But I think we have some time. We have some time here. We'll keep going. Hi! Looking good!
Thank you.
Wow. That horse didn't look like it's done anything. The horse looks so good. The horse looks like he's out for a jog. Let me see who that was. That was 44. Lynn Kennelly. Lynn Kennelly, Ashland, Montana, with Rhett, a Shagia. Oh yeah. No wonder that horse was so beautiful. Gray, 7 years old, 15-2. Gosh, that was a beautiful animal. All right. I don't know if we're plugged in here, Brandon. See that? Okay. That doesn't look like it's charging though. Oh, okay. That's just showing from the app. Okay. Sorry, we're trying to get some juice out of my phone here. Okay. All right. We have a few more minutes before cutoff here, but don't lose hope here. I think we have some horses up in the vet check right now. In fact, I know we have horses up in the vet check right now. I can hear them, so we're still good. So yeah, we'll stay here streaming until the cutoff, until there's no more horses coming down here. Yeah, that buffering. Okay, we're back on. We were buffering a minute. Didn't miss a horse, don't worry. I was just saying that one of my favorite memories from Tevis. I'll just while we're waiting, I'll talk about some of my personal favorite memories from Tevis. One of them was the year that I got my first completion, was on my favorite horse of all time, my Tennessee Walker mare Sky. And I was coming across, we were like trying to make the cutoff, and we were going across No Hands Bridge, and I was riding with Jennifer Stalley, and we just took a minute, like crossing No Hands Bridge and coming up the other side, to marvel at what a privilege it was to ride these magnificent horses that had carried us at that point 98 miles over the Sierra Nevada, and just marveling at how much just strength they had. I mean, they're just amazing animals, and it's just such a privilege to be able to share our lives with them. And so it was just a really special, poignant moment that I remember. on the trail with Jen. Okay, I'm going to take a break from Fun Tevis Memories because we have, I think, Rebecca and Roriana. Roriana's a junior about to come down the trail here. And Roriana's on another Mustang, Rowdy. And this was a, this is a big group. Okay, this was an unruly horse that she got and trained up and is now at Tevis with. Let me make sure they're coming down here. I see Rebecca coming through. I see Roriana coming through. And she did all this conditioning too. We'll say a little bit more about Roriana in a minute. Yay! Next stop, Forest Hill. Okay. Junior rider. We'll get her name in a minute. I'm sorry. I should have that on the tip of my tongue. I was saying it back at Highway 89. Okay, sorry. We'll get the name of that junior rider in just a second. Here's Roriana and Rowdy. Oh my gosh, you guys are looking great. Woo! And I think that was another junior rider with them. 3 junior riders. My gosh, Rowdy is hauling. Rowdy was hauling. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, Rowdy looked so good. And here's Terry Zielinski on Charlie. Rack on!
Back on.
Rack on!
We're going at the pink thing here?
Yep. See you in Auburn.
Yep.
He looks good, Terry.
Thank you.
Terry rides and trains field trial horses and came into endurance that way. And as you can imagine, field trial horses go out and cover a lot of ground every day. So he had a couple field trial horses that he thought would take his hand here at endurance. And he's finished Tevis with Charlie, I think, once. He's located in Watsonville. I think a couple horses here have come from Terry, a couple of the gaited horses. And I got a comment that it's, Charlie is a very well gated horse. In my opinion, it's more often that you see gated horses, especially doing hundreds, that end up doing a pace or a trot. Personally, I think that's totally fine because you're asking them to go 100 miles and they should do a gait that is right and natural for them and not ask them to do anything for your own comfort. But and that equation changes when you're doing shorter trail rides totally, but if you're going to ask them to do this, just let them do what they do. But Charlie, as you can see, was racking there. I think he's pretty naturally gaited, and at least from what I've seen, that's pretty rare. It's a pretty cool horse. So Brandon walked up to the, sorry, I'm getting like attacked by mosquitoes here. So my feed's getting a little wonky, sorry. Brandon walked up to the vet check here to get us a little bit of a piece of intel on who's up there. So he'll come back and report back. Yeah, this cam is after they pass the vet. So they could be up here right now. Yeah, the mosquitoes are buzzing right now. That's all right. We're here. Oh, and I was going to look up those juniors. I know, I think one of the juniors and Roriana, she was from New Mexico. So let me look her up. I think she was being sponsored from the Alaska rider, so maybe something happened. Okay, next. Let's see. I think I think we saw Reagan Tanner was one of the juniors, and we had Amelia Vandermeer go by, one of the juniors. Of course, we had Roriana Langtat as well, and Clara Shumway. So Clara was the junior that went by right before the group with Roriana, and then we had a couple other juniors as well. Okay, so Brandon's coming back. He's going to give us a report of what he sees up there. So hold on tight here. And someone asked, do they have to pass the vet to meet the cutoff? What I remember is the cutoff is your in time when you pulse down. So I think you just have to be pulsed down at the cutoff. Who's up there? Is anyone up there?
Looks like they're in a hurry.
Huh?
We got some horses, but they're like cleaning up the sunshade.
Okay. But there's horses up there?
There are some.
Or do they have tack on or off?
Off.
Tack off, but are they vetting or are they just hanging? Because I know a couple
It's like
horses
hanging.
got pulled up there.
It's like hanging.
Okay. All right. So, hey, chat. Walk up and see what I can peep. Brandon said there's some horses up there. I don't want to make any guesses, and I don't want to end this live feed before folks come through. So, just hold on a minute. I'll be right back. We do have a rider coming. There's a rider at the out timer. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna catch my breath. Okay. I'm gonna see who's coming here. We got a horse at an out timer. It wasn't Jeep. I'm so sorry. It wasn't Jeep at the out timer. I didn't really have a chance to really look around because the horse was at the out timer. Nigh. But we got a rider coming out, which is very exciting. And I'll have this rider call out their name and number because I can't immediately tell here. Woo! What's your name and number?
Sonia Willits, 109.
Sonia Willits, 109. Next stop, Forest Hill. Woo woo! Oh, the mosquitoes. Woo, these mosquitoes. Okay, let me get you a little information on that rider while we're waiting here. Sonia Willits, 109. Oh, G-E-K, call me Blue Ruger. Blue, that's right. Exciting. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, that was such a cool horse. All right, let me see here. Okay, we're still showing. we're still showing horses on course. So you really invested in some of these teams, like really invested. Okay, here's Brandon. Oh, these mosquitoes. Anyone else?
Nobody was trotting.
Was anyone saddled?
No.
How many horses were over there?
3 or 4.
3 or 4, and were they all in the right-hand side area?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like maybe it's.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. Here's the deal, everyone.
Out.
Yeah, here's the deal. Brandon just went and checked it up. There's 3 or 4 horses up there, but they're all in the pull area. We don't know who they are, but I don't think there's any more horses coming through here. Now, I don't really know how to end this live feed right now, because I'm feeling a little bit of disappointment for the people that might be over time or have been pulled, that we've been waiting to come through. All I'll say is that I have not finished this ride more than I have finished this ride, by at least double. And every time I come and do it, regardless of whether I finish or not, it's such a beautiful experience. And I feel so grateful for it. And it's very cliche, but I have learned more in the times that I haven't finished. And my opinion is that if you come here and you get to the starting line and you make good decisions for your horse, and you end and go home with a happy, healthy horse, whether that be overtime or maybe it's a minor pull and you're going to be fine, that's a win. You got to see some beautiful trail and you can always come back. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. You've been just a pleasure to interact with on the live feed. I encourage everybody, please go over to Forest Hill. That team, it's a crack up team over there doing a great job running that vet check. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. Don't leave. Don't leave. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't leave. Is there someone coming? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Don't sign off. Don't sign off. We got a horse coming. I'm so sorry. Don't sign off. Stay on. We got a horse coming. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. Just a minute. We got a horse coming. We don't know who it is yet. Brandon is Chicken Hawk live feed MVP right now. He's invested. We're invested right now. He said there's a horse with a saddle on tacked up walking to the out timer. So just hold on a minute. When this live feed ends, go over to Forest Hill. Just hold on a minute. We'll give it a minute. Okay, sweep riders. Okay. Well, thank goodness for our sweep riders. We love them. Okay. Well, that's it for the field. So it looks like our last rider out was that super, super cool Rocky Mountain Horse Blue. So look for that team in Forest Hill and come on over to Forest Hill. It looks like our sweep riders might be riding down here. So I'm going to keep this feed going until our sweep riders roll by. You're welcome to stay on and see our illustrious sweep team. They should be here in about a minute. And after that, I'll sign off. Thank you all for tuning in and playing the long game with us here at Chicken Hawk. This was just a total pleasure to be interacting with folks on this chat and be sharing our love of this trail together. Thanks all. I think he's sweep. Right? Or is he rider?
I don't know, he looked pretty stiff.
Well, let's check.
Water.
Yeah, this might be a rider. Oh man, got mosquitoes. Oh, this is a rider. This is for sure a rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still in it.
Good work.
I guess I get the Caboose Award.
Yeah. That's a beautiful horse. Oh my goodness.
Hopefully complete. It's gonna be challenging.
What's your name and number?
Brad Drake, number 36.
36. And what breed is your horse? He's beautiful.
My horse's name is Boots. The name of his horse?
What's his breed?
He's half Mustang, half Arabian.
Beautiful. I don't want to delay you any further. Have a great rest of your ride. He looks gorgeous.
Brad Drake is
Yep. I think he's a first-time rider. Okay.
from Alaska.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I almost missed him. I feel so bad.
I
We
know.
almost missed Brad.
Let's see if we got an update on
I
our.
know. I think we did. Let me go here. So sorry folks, I almost signed off too early. Okay. Great. Oh my gosh, I'm afraid to call it. Oh, so he said that he's from Alaska and his horse is half Arab, half Mustang. Okay, so I see folks up there. Are they sweep riders? I don't want to miss anyone. Now I have like missing somebody anxiety. Man, I've been in the back. I appreciate when folks were getting pictures and images of me in the back. It was nice. No? Sweep team? Okay. Well, let's keep the feed rolling until we see the sweep riders, because we'll know they're the last ones. And we can start like packing up the chairs and stuff. All right, folks, we're going to keep this rolling till we see the sweep riders leave, because we don't want to miss any riders. So feel free to hang on the live feed until that point. It should be another couple minutes. And after that, tune into Forest Hill. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate hanging out with you this evening. Okay, there's the sweep teams. There's sweep riders. I may as well show them. We love our sweep riders. Appreciate them coming out every year and sweeping for us. Yay, sweep team! Woo woo! Are you guys just going to Forest Hill or are you going beyond too?
Just Forest Hill.
Fun.
He said no more. He's already done Tevis. He's 25.
He's like, I remember this.
I didn't want to do the school night.
He's like, I know where I am.
Go uphill, not downhill.
Yes, I can relate. Hey, have a beautiful ride, you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for sweeping. Okay. All right, Brandon, can you let the signal know that we're gonna go off live here? All right, thanks everyone. See you a bit down the trail.